Testing. Oh, there we go. Testing, testing. Hello, hello. Can anybody hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. We got to test everything out. Yes. So we're trying from, let me know if you can hear me okay. Sis 171. We're live tonight using OBS Studio, so we're trying something new. I don't know if it's going to work out. Who knows what surprises we will have, but it's interesting because OBS Studio says can hear you well. All right, thank you, sir. Now, what if I click on this channel? See, like I can't bring this up. So I think there's some limitations. How do I get this off of here? Okay. But we're using OBS Studio and we're trying to figure out if this free option, which is what this is, this software, is going to be sufficient for live streaming or if we have to continue on with StreamYard, which costs $45 a month. If you can get almost everything with the free one, why not go free? But tonight we're going to be charting. We're going to be charting some quarterbacks, including Joe Flacco, the ageless wonder. Two ageless wonders tonight. Joe Flacco for the Bengals. And, of course, Aaron Rodgers for the Steelers. Bengals versus Steelers. And then we got Aaron Rodgers for the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers. At Cincy 10-16-25. So we'll be doing some live charting. Two Super Bowl champion and MVP quarterbacks. Yeah, sure are. And we'll see how they do. They're old men now. They're a long time since they were in the Super Bowl, but, we'll see how they're looking. Interesting. Kind of interesting on both accounts. I mean, obviously, Rodgers, it's the last go-round. He's trying to put up numbers for his career and seeing if he could get into the playoffs one last time. Why not? And as far as the Bengals are concerned, they're probably trying to hang around until December when they think Joe Burrow could possibly come back. So if they can stay in the hunt until Burrow returns, that would be their goal this year. They paid the wide receivers. They paid Trey Hendrickson, who's out of this game. And so they're in their win-now window. But, of course, they're not in win-now. It's hard to win now without Joe Burrow. So they went out and got Joe Flacco to try to save the season. And he lost his first game. This will be his second game. And we'll see how it goes. JoJo's here. Now, JoJo and High Karate, we're using OBS tonight. So let me know if there's any difference that you guys see. Now, one of the things, it seems like I got the chat up here. So going through OBS Studio, which is a free product. So I'm trying out the free. Maybe we don't need StreamYard, but maybe we do. No, let me know if you guys notice any differences from the previous streams. But one of the things, it seems like I can't bring up the chat. So if I click on JoJo's comment, it does not let me bring it up on screen like it does in StreamYard. And so that's something I can't do that unless there's some way to do it that I don't see. What if I click over here now? So I'll just have to read the chats. That's one negative right there. Maybe I could find a plug-in or something. Jojo says, not too much athletic. Yeah, we're going to see some pocket passing, Jojo. Hi Karate says, Jared Dahl flowing. Yeah. Sis says, do the Bengals really think they can save their season? Yeah. Why else would they get Joe Burrow? Yeah, they do. Well, from their perspective, I mean, otherwise, why trade for Joe Burrow? Just hang out with Jake, what's his name, Browning, if you didn't want to try to save your season, but that's what they want to do. And they've made their bed with that O line. Now, CYZ 171, I know you had a different screen name, so let me know if you changed your screen name or what. This is showing me Sizz 171. But I recognize your avatar from previously, and I know you had a different screen name. But yeah, they have made their bed with that O line for years now with Burrow, and that they've chosen, to pay wide receivers and to draft wide receivers and all that, and they still haven't fixed the O line, and Joe Burrow keeps getting hurt, and they refuse to fix the O line. So yeah, from their perspective, they think they can do it. I mean, they're 2-4; they're not out of it. They think that they can do it. Otherwise, why would you trade for Joe? As for kicks and giggles, Jojo says it's a shame the injuries have derailed Burrow's career. Yeah, it's amazing. He's had, what, 3? Now, they're saying this one may not be season-ending. That may be a little optimistic. Who knows? But they're saying he could come back in December. We'll have to see if that's true. But if not, if he's out the whole year, then that's like 3 season-enders, in the short career and all different kinds of injuries. So very strange. Very strange. Oh, so Sizz, so it shows me Event Horizon CYZ 171. So this is something, this might be YouTube related, it might be OBS related. Event Horizon, I don't know why it displays differently. Well, I don't know why either, but it does. That may be a YouTube thing. We were talking about this with JoJo the other day. JoJo's name is showing different. It may be something with YouTube. I don't know. Or it may be something with OBS, although I doubt it because we had the same type of thing happen the other day with StreamYard, which meant it was a YouTube thing. So we'll have to see about that. So in case you missed the news, today, I read the news today, oh boy. Remember that song? But anyway, the news today was that Leonard Taylor, recently departed from the New York Jets, has signed with the New England Patriots practice squad. So Leonard Taylor, we cut him. We're not exactly sure why we cut him, but we think it's because Jamarcus Weston is coming back off of IR. And so I guess he's going to take his spot. That hasn't been announced or anything yet, but that's what it seems like. And so the Patriots said, thank you very much. We'll put him on our practice squad. And Leonard Taylor was like, yeah, let me go to another organization that seems to know what they're doing. So Taylor, see ya. On to the Patriots he goes. Other than that, not much news going on. And this game will start in approximately 8 minutes. So they're going through the pregame stuff. We'll chart it, as always. We'll chart the quarterbacks anyway, as we refine our system. Yeah, JoJo says the Bengals have had such bad luck with 2 elite QBs, Palmer and Burrow, with their injuries. Yeah. That's what can happen. That's what can happen. So that's what's going on with the Jets. That's what's going on tonight. It's Thursday night football, and it's a very important. It's a very important time for the Jets because of the trade deadline. Event Horizon says, "Are the Steelers frauds, or is the division just that bad?" It's both of them. The Steelers are frauds, as far as I can tell. They're not really this good. Rodgers, for example, is not playing well, but they are winning. So, as far as I can tell right now, they're pretty fraudulent. But hey, you never know. And of course, the division is different, right? The Ravens are not the Ravens right now. They have 10,000 injuries. The Browns are terrible, and Burrow is out for the Bengals. So that's not the same. you know, the Browns haven't figured out their quarterback problem. The Browns thought, the Browns are such an interesting team to me. They have so much talent on that team, but they can't get the quarterback right. And they thought that it was going to be Kenny Pickett early on in the season, and they thought it was going to be Pickett and backed up by Flacco, and they were good to go. And then the other two rookies just wait and see. And then Pickett gets injured, and then they trade him, and then it's Flacco, and he plays badly, and then they trade him. And now it's Dylan Gabriel and Shador backing him up with Bailey Zappi on the P squad. So, and Deshaun Watson lingering around somewhere in the rehab facility. So it's like, boy, if they could ever get a quarterback, but they're not good. They're wasting Myles Garrett's career basically. And so the Bengals don't have Burrow. They're not the Bengals. The Bengals are not the Bengals without Burrow. I mean, I'm sorry, they're just not. One of the things I hate about the NFL. And then the Ravens haven't had Lamar, and everybody else has been injured on the entire team, pretty much. I mean, their entire defense is injured. You can't, you know. So they're not the same as they usually are. So and I think the Steelers have had an easy schedule. They've gotten lucky, like tonight, for example. Trey Hendrickson's out. So the Bengals defense is not good in the first place, but it's certainly not good. How much worse is it going to be without Trey Hendrickson? And the Steelers get to play the Bengals without Trey Hendrickson. That's what's also variable about the NFL. You might play some teams and their key players are out or their quarterback's out. And then did you really beat the real team without, if you beat the Bengals without Burrow, is that really the Bengals? I would argue no. No, it isn't. So I think it's a combination. I mean, they've played conservative, and their defense is still solid, and they've gotten enough out of the offense to win. So give them credit. But between the opponents being bad, a soft schedule, and just some injury luck, that's what I think it is, really. But who knows? Mike Tomlin's the king of the never having a losing season. So. Jonathan reminds us to do the milk thumbs. Yeah, please do the milk thumbs, ladies and gentlemen. We are testing this out from OBS Studio. So if you notice any difference in the quality, let me know. OBS Studio. OBS is a free software, so I'm trying it out. StreamYard costs $45 a month. If I could do the same thing for free, that otherwise would cost me $45 a month, I might as well do the free thing, right? But we're testing it out. One of the things I've noticed I can't take this chat and put them on screen. And you notice there's no FSPN logo or anything like that. That's also something that I can't do on here as far as I know. But this is my first time using it for a live stream, so who knows? Jojo says, curious with the trade deadline ahead to see who's going. Yeah, Quincy and Clemens and Michael Carter. It's going to be very instructive to see if Muji and AG, if the regime really understands the situation we're in and really makes the most of it. Meaning how can we stack up these picks? Can we pick off a young player or two somewhere that makes sense for us? It's going to be very interesting because we need to stack up picks. Howie's here. What's up, Frankie? Looks and sounds good. All right, Howie. Now, Howie's a member of the Inner Circle, and I would recommend everybody become an Inner Circle member. We're trying to build up the scouting capacity of the Jets' unpaid scouting department by looking at these quarterbacks. For example, and we have the whole system. You get access to all the files, all the instructions, everything. You can ask me questions about it, obviously, if you join up for the Inner Circle. Now, what this system for charting these quarterbacks has done for me, it allows me to know, for example, the top 2 quarterbacks as of right now in the draft are Ty Simpson and Fernando Mendoza. And so it helps you to know things rather than having to rely on Todd McShithead or, Mel the Creeper Kuiper, all these stupid people who get things wrong constantly. If you use the system, you will know who's actually good and who isn't, especially for the quarterbacks. So that's one of the value pieces of joining. We also do exclusive videos and other things exclusive to the Inner Circle members. And we got price tiers for your budget. We got a $2 price tier, a $5, and a $10, whatever fits your budget. And almost all of the exclusive content goes to everybody. So if you want to just do the $2 level, that's cool. That's totally cool. So Howie's in there. Hi Karate says, free is good. Yeah, especially if it's the same. Now, there's one problem so far, Karate. And that is I can't show your comments on screen, or at least I don't know how to, unless there's a way. So that's one difference. But there might be a plugin. There might be maybe something I don't know about. Andrew Whitworth is getting the crowd all. Now, Andrew Whitworth, if you remember, is like a Bengals legend, and then he went over to the Rams and won his Super Bowl in his old age. But for a long time, he was with the Bengals. Jonathan wants to know, are you doing a mock draft soon? Yeah, probably. I don't know. If we do one, it'll be like a one-rounder. At this point, you can't go too far because, first of all, who knows about all these frickin' players? And second of all, you also don't know enough about what the team is going to do. So, for example, if we did a mock draft today as the kickoff comes and Steelers take it out to the 30-yard line, so it'll be Aaron Rodgers on the field first. If we did a mock draft today and then next week, Muji makes 3 trades and picks up, 4 draft picks, well, that changes the picture, right? But the first round you could kind of, and also the draft order is not completed and all that. We don't know how many wins everybody's going to have. But you could get an idea. I mean, if we do one, it'll be like a one-rounder, Jonathan. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to get an idea of who these first-round people are. All right, now Rodgers is on the field. He's got, it looks like 11 personnel out there. Steps back, throws a routine underneath pass, missed tackle, and almost another missed tackle. There's another missed tackle, so should have been tackle for loss, but guy missed a tackle. One routine throw for Mr. Rodgers. And he's been throwing, if you haven't been paying attention, he's been throwing underneath a lot this year. He has the lowest, what's called ADOT, average depth of target, of any starting quarterback in the league. So he's just throwing these little dink and dunk passes this year. And apparently that's what Arthur Smith wants. And so he's just basically running the Arthur Smith offense. Looks like 12 personnel here out of the shotgun. And another pass right at the line of scrimmage, but he takes it. Now there's a flag, so 2 routine. False start on the offense, so that'll bring it back. Now it'll be second down. So Jonathan wants to know, what happened to the tight end we picked up from the Indianapolis Colts? Well, Jonathan, if you were a careful watcher of my videos, you would know I already mentioned him in a video. The last video that I put out, Jonathan. You got to pay attention to the Frankie channel. But yeah, his name is Jelani Woods, and hopefully he gets some run. He hasn't been active in any game this year. And between him and Stone Smart, I would. Oof, that was a bad pass. Between him and Stone Smart, and with Garrett being out, I would want more 12 personnel in this game, and I would want to see those guys get some playing time and targets, along with Mason Taylor and Ruckert. But we'll have to see what Tanner Engstrand comes up with. So 3rd down and 11, 13:50 left. Rodgers, they haven't done a running play yet. It's been all Rodgers, and he's just been dumping them off. Now they got 11 personnel. I think this may be 12. Some of these tight ends they have, you can't tell if they're tight ends or wide receivers. They're big dudes. Rodgers throwing deep down the sideline here for Metcalf, and he nails it. That's an elite throw right there. That's the kind of thing you should do if you have DK Metcalf. Just throw it deep. He's got one-on-one. Wow, they got a 2-high safety shell, but the second safety doesn't go to cover Metcalf. Interesting. He's pulled into the middle of the field by the tight end. That gave you one-on-one on the outside. Rodgers sees it and just chucks it down, drops it in the bucket. Beautiful. Nicely done. Nicely done. Rodgers under center now, 1st and 10 from the +30. Now he hands it off to Warren, and he gets about 6 yards there. This is not a very good Bengals team. They're wearing their whiteout uniforms. The uniforms look nice, white helmets, give them that much. But it's not a good team, and they're missing Trey Hendrickson, so that is a factor. That is a factor. Looks like 11 personnel here now. 2nd down and 3. Or maybe 12, I guess. Darnell Washington is so freaking huge, man. That guy is massive. Another running play, and it's up the middle for a 1st down. Jaylen Warren picks it up. Nice going. Jonathan wants to know, so JoJo says, has Stone Smart been active? Yeah, he's been active, but he was inactive once. He's been active, but he's not getting any snaps on offense. He's been playing on special teams. So that's been disappointing, JoJo, one of the many disappointing things. We thought Stone Smart had some good skills that he could bring to the table. We haven't seen them. One of many disappointing things so far this season. All right, now they're in 12 again. Now this team uses tight ends a lot, the Steelers. They have 4 good ones on the roster. Here's another handoff to Warren, and the Bengals don't seem to really be able to stop anybody or anything. You wonder if they fall out of contention completely, are they going to be sellers at the trade deadline? You know, if the Joe Flacco gambit fails, essentially. But Jonathan wants to know, what college quarterbacks have you been looking at? I've been looking at all the contenders. So Fernando Mendoza, Dante Moore, Ty Simpson, and then whoever they're playing. So I looked at Diego Pavia because he was playing in one of the games. He's not an NFL quarterback, for example. Here's Rodgers back to pass. Throwing. Oh, now what do I grade here? Can I get a replay? A lot of these I need a replay, and they don't show a replay. Because was this a good throw that was dropped, or was it too far? Okay, they're showing a replay. Good. Now, he's thrown it to Hayward, who's a tight end. This is one of the negatives. His right foot. Boy, that's hard to tell. I'm going to give him a bad because it was like one step off. But a wide receiver probably catches that. That's the bad thing about having so many tight ends. Now they have 11 personnel on the field, looks like, or maybe that's Jonnu Smith over there. Rodgers scrambling a bit, scrambling. Here's where they miss Trey Hendrickson because they can't even keep up with Rodgers. Now he throws and he's got a touchdown. Yeah, that is Jonnu Smith. And Jonnu Smith is a tight end that plays like a wide receiver, so. But you can't let Rodgers just run all around out there. This defense from the Bengals is pretty laughable. 8 seconds. They gave him 9 seconds to throw. Jesus. Well, 7 nothing. Steelers. They made it look easy. One big play to DK, a couple of nice runs, and then a 9 second running around behind the line of scrimmage for Aaron Rodgers, and he nailed him. Good job by Aaron Rodgers. All right, so everybody, Jonathan. Now I can only do like last. I'll give you an idea. Last Saturday, I was watching college football from 12 noon until midnight, basically. 3 games, 6 quarterbacks. So I try to look for the games that have 2 gradable quarterbacks, if possible. But I don't have a ton of games. Like you really need at least 5 games of scouting to really know somebody. So we're just getting started, and but it's looking like to me, subject to change. Subject to change. We got to get all the games in this year, but it's looking like to me the top 2 are going to be for the Jets. The top 2 for the Jets, because I'm scouting for the Jets, unpaid scouting. I'm not just scouting guys. I'm scouting who's a good fit for the Jets. And the top 2 right now for me are Simpson and Mendoza, and it's a pretty steep drop after that. And there's some other guys, Carson Beck, Garrett Nussmeier. There's some other guys, but for me, those are the ones I'm most interested in right now. So we'll have to see. Oh, so this thing does allow me to start a Q&A. It allows me to start a poll, and I can switch to a members-only live stream. So I do have some options here, but it does not allow me to put these things on screen. So we can't do that. So there we go. But let me know if you guys have any other questiones. We want to see if there's any other features that we can check out also. Jonathan says he's got to go. All right, Jonathan. Good to see you, buddy. Happy trails to you. Happy trails to you. Yeah. What's going on here? Oh, let's do a little refresh. Watch live main broadcast. All right, now they're kicking off. So Joey Flacco will come on. We'll see what he can do. Now the Steelers, as opposed to the Bengals, actually have a good defense. So we'll see if they get after old Mr. Flacco. Former Super Bowl MVP back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day. Oh, yeah. All right, so Flacco now starts in the shotgun, and he starts with a run to Chase Brown. He only gets a couple yards. Flacco, this is his second start with his new team. He was a little bit of a surprise trade in division. And so we'll see how that works out for most of the teams. Now, the Browns have a ton of draft picks next year. Ton of draft picks. So they've been stockpiling. So it'll be interesting to see what the Browns do in the draft, actually. Flacco back to pass, looking. Here comes the Sakalaka. So TJ Watt, Keanu Benton, all these people, sack. Steelers know the value of defensive line. Apparently the Jets do not. The Bengals have some guy named Rivers at guard. I don't know who that is. Amarius Mims, I think, has also been disappointing. The right tackle, as far as I remember, without looking up his grades or anything. Third down and 14 now. Flacco back to pass, throws over the middle, got a man wide open. It's T. Higgins, and that's a first down. I give that a solid pass, solid pass. JoJo says he's been impressed with Simpson's throws in the games I've watched. Yeah, Simpson has a lot to offer, has all the athleticism you need. Son of a coach, son of a college head coach, that is. So grew up around coaching and then has everything you want as far as the arm is concerned, the size, everything else. So the only knock on Simpson, he hasn't started a lot of games for Alabama because he sat behind Milroe last year. Chase Brown, it's 4 yards and gets popped. Papalapa by Sean Elliott, Deshaun Elliott, Deshaun Elliott, I don't know, Mr. Elliott. Second down now. Chase Brown only averaging 2.7 yards per carry on the season. That is not good. The Bengals now come out with 5 wide, 11 personnel. They put Brown out, and Flacco looks to find somebody, but that is way off the mark. So some miscommunication there. 3rd and 6. JoJo says Browns are only a quarterback away. Well, the Browns, they should be. Yeah. They should be, but that defense still isn't performing as well as it should be. I mean, they have so much talent on defense, and they're not, if you look up their DVOA or anything, they're not performing the way they should be. And they have a good defensive coordinator, Schwartz. Excuse me. Flacco back to pass, 3rd and 6. Drops it off. No bueno. I've never understood why the Browns are so bad at defense with all the good players that they have. Their O-line is starting to deteriorate. We think of them having a great O-line from the good old days, but their O-line is starting to deteriorate now, actually. So I would say they still have some problems. They need to address O-line, but they could easily fix it. If they had a good quarterback, it would help them. Obviously, they're finding out about Dylan Gabriel now, and then by the end of the season, they may find out about Shedeur Sanders. They may let him get some handful of games or so. See what they got there. But yeah, they may be in need of another quarterback, even though they have Deshaun Watson and Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur and Bailey Zappi. They still probably will take one in the first round, again this year again. Unless Dylan Gabriel balls out or Shedeur balls out or, well, Bailey Zappi's not going to ball out. But if one of them balls out, then maybe they go, all right, we got our guy. Let's move on. But, that's one of those teams that just has all this talent and can't win. It's weird. It's very, very weird, I would say. So, yeah, but of course, they're one of those teams that are in the ghetto with us, and I personally don't think they're going to get rid of the coach or the GM. We'll have to see. But it seems to me that the owner set that franchise back a ton when he just insisted on getting Deshaun Watson and having to trade for him and then pay him. I mean, the things that people do to get what they think is a high quality quarterback is crazy. So it's like, well, and it seems like the owner, Jimmy Haslam, is the one who engineered that thing. So if that's the case, how can you blame the coach and the GM? The GM has done a pretty good job of stockpiling talent on the team. Otherwise, they loaded up with picks. They're going to have a ton of picks in the next draft. They can do whatever they want, trade wise, move up, move down, et cetera, et cetera. And so, I don't know. And Stefanski's a two-time coach of the year. You know, Kevin Stefanski won Coach of the Year twice and went to the playoffs twice already with the Browns. So I don't know how you can really fire these people when it seems like the whole Watson thing is what screwed you up, and that was at the behest of the owner. All right, Rodgers now back on the field from the 26-yard line, out now in the shotgun. He's got two receivers to the left, one to the right, hands it off to Warren, and he knifes his way through the Bengals defense, which is pretty non-existent this evening. Now Rodgers again, similar formation, but this time throws to Metcalf short, complete. He's got it. He's got it. All right, second down and 4 now, 6:27 remaining in the second quarter. We got 12 personnel here with Washington, who looks like an offensive lineman, big enough. And they hand it off. Now it's a flea flicker back to Rodgers. Moves to his right. Now dirts the ball. Call that a throwaway. I call that a throwaway. Rodgers upset with somebody. And you wonder how long that act is going to last as he yells at everybody. It can't be his fault. Remember, it's never his fault. It's never Aaron Rodgers' fault. He's never done anything wrong in his whole entire life. Let's remember that. Now it's third down and 4. And they're in their own territory, but they're close to the mid field line, so they might go for it on fourth. You never know. Now he's got three receivers to his right, one to the left. Running back stays in. Now he's going deep. Throws. That's a bad throw to Smith. So Rodgers tonight, one elite throw, 4 routine throws, 3 bad throws, 1 throwaway. Trying to hit Jonnu Smith on the corner route, I guess you'd call it, or fade route. Just overthrew him. But of course, it's not his fault. It's not. I mean, he can't. Somebody else must have screwed up because it's certainly not Aaron Rodgers' fault. I mean, Aaron Rodgers doesn't do anything wrong. He's never done anything wrong his whole life. Yeah, you could see him mouthing, "What are you doing?" yelling at his running back. So maybe the running back screwed up. We don't know. But Aaron Rodgers embarrassing his own players on the field, I guess that's just something he does. Always good to show up your teammates, Aaron. Especially right on the field, right as it's happening. Like, don't even wait till you get to the sideline. Just embarrass them right then. Cameras on you. You got to make sure everybody knows you didn't screw up, Aaron Rodgers. You got to let them know it was Jaylen Warren's fault. You got to let everybody know that. Otherwise, they might think you screwed up, and we're not going to have that. So now Flacco will come on the field. When you see stuff like that, makes you think, I'm so glad we got rid of that bum. But then again, when you see the touchdown pass, it makes you think, maybe we should have kept that bum. So It's one of those things. It's one of those things. Yeah. That's how it works. That's how it works. Nobody really saying anything interesting on Twitter as we check that as well. Sometimes you got to check the Twitters. That's for sure. Flacco, I have as one solid throw, one routine, one bad. That's what we got so far. I really wonder what other functionality that I might have available to me. Karate says, what if I move it now? Karate says, I'm glad Rodgers is gone. Good riddance. Well, yeah, we don't have any wins. He's got 4 wins. That would be what people would say. Well, we got none. Joey Flacco under center. We got 11 personnel, tight end in motion, flips it out to Jamar Chase. A little routine pass and gets 8-9 yards. It's a nice little play. Throw it out to your playmakers. Let them make plays, they say. I agree. Well, as far as Aaron Rodgers is concerned, what's done is done. So we really got to just move forward and look forward. I mean, we're 0-6. No sense in looking back. And as the song goes, don't look back in anger. Flacco now in the shotgun, 2-by-1 formation, and he looks to his right, throws down the sideline, and that's a bad pass. Underthrew it, should have thrown it over the defender. There's a flag on the play, though. They're probably going to get him for DPI. I'm calling it a bad pass because it was underthrown. Should have been. So the underthrow becomes an advantage here because of the rules, but it's still an underthrow, in my opinion. Should have been over his right shoulder. But because it was underthrown, Chase couldn't get back to it. They call him for it. That's one of those things. That's one of those things that we're going to look at in the rule book when we do our rule book video. It's like, why does an underthrow like that, like what is the defensive back supposed to do? And an underthrow like that gives an advantage to the offense. Here's Flacco with, ooh. Now, is this a bad throw or did he drop it? That's Jamar Chase we're talking about. Can I get a replay? Can I get a replay? I got to know if this is a bad throw or did Chase just drop it? All right, here's a replay. Let's see. No, that's a bad pass. So Joey Flakes, 3 bad, 2 routine, 1 solid so far. So he would not get a good grade so far. JoJo says, no ill will towards Rodgers. Time to move forward and rebuild. Well, at least you're pretty logical about it, JoJo, I will say. You know, that most Jet fans would be freaking out right now. He threw a touchdown pass. I can't believe it. We let this man go. But yeah, we did what we had to do. I do think that Aaron Glenn handled that meeting poorly, if only because he should have tried to get as much intel from Rodgers as possible. He met with him for 15 minutes, if you remember that whole thing. Flacco back to pass, looking, throws it underneath for a first down. I kind of wish Aaron Glenn would have went into that meeting and been like, let's talk to Aaron Rodgers for 2 hours. See what we can learn. Maybe you learn something about Woody or Christopher. You might get one thing in the conversation, you know, that would help you as you're taking over this franchise, pretty much. You know? So I do think he handled that poorly. Maybe there was a reason that we don't know about that he did what he did and only wanted to talk to him for 15 minutes. I don't know. But I would think if Aaron Rodgers, wants to talk to you, and he's got 2 years of being in the organization, knows all sorts of things about the organization. Maybe he could help you deal with Woody. Maybe he could help you deal with Christopher. Maybe he could help you deal with Jaime. Who knows? Who knows what you could learn? I would think it would be worth your time to talk to him for a couple hours, and even if at the end you knew you weren't going to bring him back, you could still talk to him for 2 hours or an hour or something. And now Flacco hands it off. So the Bengals are moving the ball okay on this drive. A couple of check down type passes, but hey, if it moves the chain, Samari Pirine. But now it's third down. Here's the money down. Are they going to send a blitzalooza? Are they going to send T.J. Watt, the ever angry man? T.J. Watt's always angry. You wonder if that's just for the football field, or does he go home and act like that towards his children? We would hope not. Saves his anger for the quarterbacks. All right, Joe Flacco now in the shotgun. He's got a 2-by-2 formation. Running back to his right, and it's either offsides or encroachment, and it's false start. Actually, I meant false start or encroachment. And it's false start offense. So that's not going to help. That's Amarius Mims. If you remember, a lot of people were high on him in the draft. I wasn't particularly one of them. I wasn't low on him either, but he was seen as more of a project. I don't think he's played that well, as far as I'm aware. Now Flacco is in the shotgun against 3rd and 11 now. He's got 11 personnel on the field, throws it over the middle. See, now that's not a good pass at all. That's bad. I'm giving him a bad one. That should have been a routine throw. He's throwing the ball high. For some reason, his elbow's getting out in front. Look at how his elbow's out in front. That's a bad pass. Incomplete to Yoshivas. So M123XYZ said, weird watching quarterbacks who throw the ball. Yeah, our quarterback doesn't want to throw the ball, apparently. Very strange. So Rodgers will get the ball back. So the Bengals and Flacco have not looked particularly good. Flacco has looked pretty inaccurate so far. That's going to be a penalty probably. Yep. So they're not moving the ball. The defense looks like Swiss cheese, and they're committing penalties on special teams. Other than that, everything's going well. But they're only down 7 as of right now. JoJo says, my friend Jaime, feel like since he's arrived, the Jets have had bad luck. Well, he hasn't arrived. He's been with the team for like 20 years, buddy. But from Woody's point of view, he loves Jaime because he's on top of the business side, and the business side is the one thing that's always worked for the Jets, although I wouldn't think it was because of anything Jaime did, but he gets the credit for it. You know what I mean? If you look at the balance sheet, if we ever could, that's something that the NFLPA should really insist upon. Yeah, there's an idea. They should insist upon all these teams need to once a year publicly publish their balance sheets, their financial statements. That would be good. That would be a good thing to collectively bargain for. And if they need help, they could have their pals in Congress say, hey, wait a minute. You have an antitrust exemption over here. Since we're giving you an antitrust exemption, shouldn't you then have a responsibility to the public for publishing your financial statements every year? I think so. I think a good case could be made that we need to see them. We need to see them. Needs to be seen. But if you were able to see the balance sheet, it probably looks great. And Jaime can go, look at this operation that I'm running, Mr. Johnson. I am keeping things in tip-top shape financially. And it's these bums over here on the football side who can't run anything. But I got your back, Mr. Johnson. I got everything running perfect. Look at this balance sheet. It's amazing. Right? So, you know. No, actually, our misfortune started, JoJo, 2011. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard Green Bean talk about this, but he could tell you point for point exactly what went wrong. This. But it was 2011 with the start of the new CBA where we screwed everything up. Every decision we made was wrong, and it set us back, so much that we haven't been able to recover. Rex couldn't coach anymore once people figured out his system and once the roster wasn't stocked to the brim with talent. And then we had to let him go, and then we haven't been able to find the coach, and then the owner's been impatient and meddling, and the losing kept piling up and up and up. It all started in 2011. Those decisions we made coming out of the new CBA were where we started to, was the sort of like the starting point. 2011 is the starting point of the modern era of the NFL, and that's where we went wrong. All right, Rodgers now back on the field. He's in the shotgun. He's got 12 personnel on the field. Gets the ball, just throws a little smoke route to the wide receiver. Man, just tons and tons of these little simple throws for Rodgers, and then every once in a while it goes deep. Apparently, that's the system here. Dink and dunk and dink and dunk, and then when you get a one-on-one, throw deep. Now he's got a 2x2. Looks to the left. Look, can't find anybody. Scrambles out to the right, and nobody putting any pressure on him. Still nobody putting any pressure on him. Jesus, how long are you going to let him sit there? What's going on? These Bengals are just terrible. How about a blitz or something? Can we do something with this defense, Bengals? You're letting Rodgers stand there for 10 seconds. Even he is like, what is going on? I don't understand. Usually teams want to try to tackle me, not the Bengals. Just let me sit here. Okay, find somebody eventually. I mean, guys can't cover dudes for 10 seconds, no matter how good or bad they are. How about a blitz? Now there's a running play. Throw it out to Gainwell, and they can't stop the run either, so that's a problem. Can't stop the run, got no pass rush. These are problems. These are problems. Looking like the Jets defense over here, except for that one last game we had. How much longer will Zach Taylor survive? Zach Taylor, well, the problem with getting rid of Zach Taylor is he can just say, I didn't have Joe Burrow. I didn't have Trey Hendrickson in the Pittsburgh game. I didn't have this. I didn't have that. He can just use the injuries as an excuse and say, I can't possibly survive with Jake Browning and Joe Flacco. Another running play to Gainwell. And he stumbles for no gain. Clock winding down toward the end of the first quarter now. 7-0 Steelers. And they're driving. Looks like they're bringing in 13 personnel, perhaps. Darnell Washington, the man who's the size of a mountain. Mountain Man. You guys ever heard that song Mountain Cry by Blues Traveler? That's a great song. I would highly recommend Mountain Cry by Blues Traveler. All right. Rodgers in the shotgun now. He's got, it is 12 personnel. And he throws a little out route. I mean, these are just dink and dunk. It's amazing. But it seems like the Bengals can't stop it, so why would you do anything different? BGal2681. What a pleasure it is to watch a real quarterback play in Rodgers. I wish we had him. So, see, there you go, JoJo. John Carmen, wet tissue. I don't know what that means, John. So, for those who are arriving late, we are trying out OBS Studio today, so I don't have access to all the tools that I normally have, or at least I don't think I do. I may have them and not know where they are. So, for example, I can't bring up the comments on the screen. as far as I know. Also, don't have access to the music, so we won't be turning this into K Frank at halftime. And some other things. The positive is OBS Studio is free, and a StreamYard costs $45 a month. As we all know, FSPN is a bootstrap operation, shoestring operation over here. And so that's why there's no logos on the screen either, because I couldn't figure out how to do that. And so if you see some differences, that's why. So Bigal is here, and John Carman, 2214. But I can't bring your comments up on the screen, fellas. Sorry about that. But what I can do is start a Q&A or start a poll. Those things I can do. So interesting interface, very different from StreamYard and sort of limited. But I have a feeling that if I do get some plugins or something, I'm sure there's ways to do it. And if I figure it out and I can get all the functionality back and have it be for free, well, why should I pay for something when I can do it for free? So we're also tracking, of course, our QB passer tracking. Right now, Aaron Rodgers has 1 elite throw, 7 routine throws, 3 bad throws, 1 throwaway. So that's how he's done tonight. And the Steelers have scored a touchdown against the Swiss cheese defense of the Bengals. And the Bengals have not been able to score yet against the Steelers. So it's the start of the second quarter. Kind of a fascinating game. A tale of two old men. Hi Karate says, in Flatbush Frankie we trust. Well, let's hope so, Karate. Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator of the Steelers, is a hot name apparently in the coaching circles for a head coaching job. They're talking about him in terms of Tennessee. All right, now we got 12 personnel again, and now they're running the ball with Warren. Looks like he's got the first down on 3rd and 3 for sure. The Bengals really have not been able to put up much of a fight. The way that the Steelers have bogged down, Al Golden being the defensive coordinator. I don't know much about Al Golden. But the way they've bogged down and the times they had to punt were because of passes that were off the mark by Rodgers. Not so much the great defense by the Bengals. And now the Steelers are driving again. They're in plus territory. They're at the plus 40-yard line. Gainwell in the backfield. This is 21 personnel. And Gainwell it is. On a little pitch to the left, he gets about 4 or 5 yards. Tony Alexio. Glad that Mooj is improving, unlike Glenn. When does Woody bring out the firing squad? Rodgers now, 2nd down and 7, 13:39 and counting. Looking left, looking right, and he hits Jonnu Smith for a first down. Dink and dunk, simple as a pimple. JoJo said, I actually liked Arthur Smith last year when we interviewed him. Yeah, was sort of an uninspiring choice. The Jets really liked him too. People would point to his time with the Falcons as a reason why not to go with him. But if you think about it, there's very few offensive minds that we could really actually get. I think he came up second in the Saleh sweepstakes also when we chose Saleh. Yeah, at some point we should probably just pick an offensive guy who's not a lunatic like Adam Gase. At least Arthur Smith would be, well, I don't know. It's hard to judge him. He's done a pretty good job. He did a good job in Tennessee, but then again, he had Derrick Henry and a good offensive line and all that. And then his job, the job he's done here with Pittsburgh as an OC, was kind of up and down. But they did make the playoffs last year. They had Russell Wilson and Justin, and then he was a head coach with the Falcons. They won 7 games 3 years in a row with a fairly talented roster. And I think people would say, why didn't he use Kyle Pitts more? Why didn't he do this? Why didn't he do that? Man, these little quick game passes. You would think that the Bengals would catch on to this eventually, and it doesn't seem so. So there's, it's a mixed bag with Arthur Smith. I like him as a candidate. He's sort of like an uninspiring choice. But then again, every offensive mind that you bring up with Jet fans, they don't like him. You know, Mike McCarthy, John Gruden, Matt Nagy. If they're offense, the Jets don't like him. And then the Jet fan says, why don't we ever hire offense? It's like, well, there's only, the hot names don't want to come here. Jaylen Warren with a cutback, and he gets in the end zone, but there is a flag on the play. Perhaps a holding call. Yep. So that one's coming back. Warren thought he had a touchdown, almost did, but did not. Holding on Frazier. That's holding. Got to let go, bud. At a certain point, like now. Time of possession 11-11 for the Steelers, 6:39 for the Bengals. Yeah, been pretty much thoroughly dominated by the Steelers here, although they're only up by 7. 2nd and 11. Rodgers looks left, looks to the center, no pressure whatsoever. Once again, has all day to throw, and now he's running. I mean, they're letting this man just sit back there, run around. I mean, geez. Al Golden, have some respect for yourself. Blitz, do something. This is a 41-year-old man running on your team like he's Michael Vick or something. Jeez. And he's just rushing 4. That's it. And, it's just sitting back there. We're down in 5 now. Shotgun. Got a trips bunch left, including Metcalf. Now Gainwell fakes going out to the right, comes back into the backfield, and Rodgers looks to the left now. Here comes a pass rush blitz. Now he's flushed out, looking, and throws. Looks like short, but they'll probably go for it. Or will they kick the field goal? 4th down and 1. I think with the way they've bullied him, bullied the trenches, you go for it, probably. And they run a tush push with the tight end, not Rodgers. There's a flag on the play. But even if they're offsides, they'll just kick the field goal probably, or false start. I mean, yeah, false start. JoJo says Al Golden was an awful head coach at the University of Miami. I don't remember that era of Miami football. And they kick a field goal. So 10-0. Bengals looking pretty cooked. But They're only down 2 scores. Al Golden. Yeah, I don't know. Something rings in my head about Al Golden. Wasn't he involved with Notre Dame or something? Let's look up Al Golden. Al Golden. Uh, yeah, he was a Notre Dame defensive coordinator from 2022 to 23 and 24. I thought that's what I remembered him. Miami. He was at Miami 2011 to 2015. I don't remember that, JoJo. Yeah, my memory does not go that far back. He was at Virginia, Boston College, Penn State for a year, Virginia for 4 years, Temple for 4 years, head coach of Temple. Then went from Temple to Miami. I guess you're saying wasn't successful. Then he went to the Lions for 2 years, 4 years. Then he was linebacker coach for the Bengals for 2 years. Then he went to Notre Dame for 3 years, and now back with the Bengals. So I don't know. But I don't know anything about his style, what he's supposed to do. Like, some of these people who are defensive minds, like um, Todd Bowles, for example, you kind of know what Todd Bowles is going to do. You know what his play style is. You know what he likes to do. You know how he likes to build a team. You know how he's going to deal with blitzing and all this. Same thing with Vance Joseph. Same thing with Robert Saleh. You know exactly what he's going to do. Jeff Ulbrich. Al Golden, I don't know. I don't know anything about what he wants to do. From what I've seen from this team, they don't seem to be doing much of anything interesting. They're just rushing for and not getting home at all, letting Rodgers stand there for 10 seconds, which is very strange. But then again, Hendrickson's out. Maybe they have some other injuries. I don't know. So he's a long time. He's got college and NFL experience, this Golden fellow. But of course, when the Bengals were playing good defense, they had Lou Amarulo. He went over to, I think he went to the Colts, right? Where did Lou Amarulo go? I forget. Lou Amarulo, I think, is a Staten Island guy. And but the but this squad is seriously devoid of talent. The Bengals were in a tight spot because they paid Burrow, they paid the two wide receivers, and then they had to pay Hendrickson more, and that kind of stresses out your budget. All right, now Flacco back on the field at the plus 29-yard line. And they hand it off to Chase Brown. He gets a big gainer. That's 15, 20 yards or so. There's a nice play. All right, there's something to build on. Plenty of time left, Bengals. Plenty of time left. Maybe we got to just run it at these Steelers. Nice vision by Brown on that one. Maybe it's just run, 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 like the Jets did in week 1 against them. Only occasional passes. Now they have to call a timeout. Not good. Not good, Joey Flakes. Joey Flakes. Todd is here. Hit the like button. Thank you, Todd. Yeah, please do hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. Even if you're not enjoying the show, just hit the like button. Why not? It can't hurt you. And feel free to subscribe and also join the Inner Circle. When you have a chance, Inner Circle, get lots of exclusive items. Click the join button down below this video or any video on this channel. They're showing Joey Burrow on the sideline with his turf toe. And, all right, Flacco now in the shotgun. Looks like 12 personnel. Steelers with kind of an amoeba front. They don't bring everybody. Flacco forced, to do a drop-off pass to the running back who got walloped. You're a little late there, Flacco. Getting your people killed. Chase Brown got crushed. Nice legal tackle by the defensive back there. Clark. Reminds one of Ryan Clark, perhaps. Now it's 2nd down and 16. So the Bengals really have not been able to move the ball except a little bit sporadically. Flacco now with a dump down to Yoshivas. Routine pass. So it'll be 3rd down, the money down. Let's see if Flacco can deliver. So far on the night, 6 for 10, 36 yards. No bueno. Jamar Chase, 2 catches, 10 yards. Also, no bueno. And outside of one big run, Chase Brown hasn't been able to get going either. Now we got 11 personnel on the field. Flacco in the shotgun, looks to his right, looks to the center of the field, throws, and he's got a man wide open. That's a 1st down. All right. There we go. Here we go, Bengals. Here we go. All right. Now let's just at least get a field goal out of this. Here we go, Bengals. Here we go. Here we go, Bengals. Wow, barely got that over Derek Harmon. Big monster in the middle. Rookie. That was a good draft pick. They don't neglect the defensive line, unlike the Jets. They don't neglect it. They don't neglect it. Flacco now in the shotgun. Looks to his left. Got a little... Oh, my goodness. Jamar Chase, trying to eat too many dropsicles, but then he caught on to it. This was a little scary. Like, what are we doing, Jamar? But able to secure it just in time. That was a little scary, Mr. Chase. We're paying you a lot of money. Darius Slay almost took that to the house. 2nd down and 3 now. Jamar Chase 7 yards back. And some sort of penalty here. False start. Offense shooting themselves right in the foot. Taking out the gun and shooting themselves. That's definitely one of those things. Flacco, 2nd down and 8 now. Hands the ball off to Chase Brown. There he goes. This is a nice... Oh, no, that's Pirine. Gets about 10 yards and a 1st down. All right. Moving the ball a little bit now here. Let's go, Bengals. Here we go, Bengals. Here we go. Here we go, Bengals. Here we go. All right, open up some holes. That's the way to do it. Look at that insert from Tinsley. You love a wide receiver insert, don't you? Right into the C gap, I think it was. I love a wide receiver insert. All right, now we got 11 personnel, tight end moving right to left. Flacco in the shotgun. Blitz coming. Gets rid of the ball. Ooh, it was tipped. Was it picked? I don't think that was picked. But we're going to call that batted for this. Man. Higgins caught it. Then he's down. Yeah, so he's down right there. So should be a catch in my opinion. I don't think this ball hit the ground. His hand hit the grass. So that's a catch. And then as soon as he's touched, he's down. There it is. So they got a lucky bounce there. Now a similar formation, 11 personnel. They hand it off to Chase Brown. He gets 2, 3, 4 yards and a first down. So now it'll be first and goal. All right, here we go, Bengals. Here we go. Here we go, Bengals. Here we go. Here we go, Zach Taylor. Here we go. Call a good play on this one, please. So Flacco moving the team down the field here. Got a little bit of luck on that tip. Got a little bit of luck on the juggle by Jamar Chase, although that wasn't his fault. Now he's in the shotgun again and looking to his left. Got a man over the middle. It's Jamar Chase. It's a touchdown. No. Are they going to say he dropped it? Or is it a TD? Either way, it's a routine throw. Did he have it long enough? What's up with Jamar dropping balls? What's going on? He's eating too many dropsicles over here. Ooh, 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 ooh. Nope. They're going to say he dropped that. No. They're going to say he dropped it. Ball's moving around. It's going to be incomplete. I bet you. He never secures it long enough. There's too many dropsicles with this Jamar Chase. What's up with that? That is not a touchdown. Sorry, Jamari. Eating too many dropsicles, Jamari. Yep, that's exactly what's happening. Nice play by 21. Play's not over. Just keep, take a shot. Knock it out. And that's exactly what he did. No bueno, Chaseno. No bueno. All right, now it's second down and goal, though not a tragedy. I mean, you want the points for sure, but they got plenty of shots now. And as long as they don't turn it over, they got a chip shot field goal in their back pocket as well. 4:42 remaining in the second quarter. This is the first really sustained drive for the white Bengals wearing the white Bengal uniform, including the white Bengal helmet, which looks pretty sweet. And Flacco now in the shotgun looks to the left, throws one up, back for Chase, and on that one, he's got it. But there's a flag, and it might be on Chase, and it might be on Ramsey. Jamar Chase going against Jalen Ramsey. Nope, it was on Ramsey. So I would say this is a solid throw. I mean, it's not far down the field, but it's placed perfectly. Yeah, I don't know what I would call on that. I mean, that's one of those ones, just let him play. Don't throw a flag. All right, so the Bengals right back in it, baby. Right back in it. Right back in it. 10-7. So good to see some fight out of these Bengals. I mean, they have enough talent on offense that they should be able to hang in. I mean, as we all know, Joe Flacco can throw it down the field as good as anybody. Just can he limit the mistakes and the picks and the interceptions and the fumbles and so forth and so on. So went right back to Jamar, probably a good idea. Now Aaron Rodgers will take the field. So we'll have to see about that. Let's see if we can find any more functionality here. Well, doesn't seem to be any. I think OBS is performing pretty well given what it's doing. So I'll have to look and see if there's some plugins or other things I can get to add some additional functionality to this. And if so, and if it can be, pretty much a one for one with StreamYard, then, you know, we're going to probably stick with OBS. I gotta say. Now they're showing time snap to pass. Yeah. Well, he's either getting rid of the ball quickly or he's got all day back there. So it's kind of the best of both worlds for Mr. Rodgers so far in this one. But now they're returning the kick, and Gainwell's going to take it out to about the 30-yard line. That's where they'll start. 4:32 remaining in the second quarter. Let's look up Rodgers. Let's keep the box score up here so we could look up some normie stats while we do. Oh, and then they tell us 10 out of 14, 101 yards and a touchdown. He's closing in on some all-time records. Is Rodgers. I think he needs about 15 more yards to move into fifth place all-time in passing yards. And, of course, I think he's fifth already in passing touchdowns. He passed Brett Favre earlier this season. So Rodgers now looks like 11 personnel, or maybe 12. Yeah, there's Washington, so that's 12 personnel. And fakes the handoff, looks to the left, trying to go deep to DK Metcalf. Why not? But he's picked off. I think he was down. If not, you should probably go down 27. Interceptable for Rodgers. So good idea, bad pass. Didn't get single coverage like he did before. This time there were safeties over there, so that made sense. Thought he was getting single coverage, but and he had a single safety high, but it was so deep that, well, he just threw it to the field. He should have been throwing it to the sideline. And nice play by 27. Definitely a pick. The question is he down? Did Metcalf touch him? So interceptable by Rodgers. Now Flacco will take over. Down by contact. So they don't get all the return yardage, but still a turnover. Nice job by the safety. Battle, formerly of Alabama, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly. And so now they got to reset the clock and blah, blah, blah. So now the Bengals right back in the game. Right back in the game. So if I were them, I'd go right back to Chase Brown, running the ball. Oh, yeah. Well, but I would just go right back to running the ball and, occasionally pepper in a pass here and there. But it seemed like they were really finding something with the running game on the last drive. So that they're in 11 now, but Flacco's under center. Brown 7 yards behind. Hands the ball off up the middle, and there he goes. He's got a 10, 15-yard gain, and he's keeping on going. He's got 20 down the right sideline, 25, 30, 35, and a huge gainer for Chase Brown. This is what I'm talking about. Hit it. Hit it up the middle, buddy. Buddy. Atta boy, buddy. That's what you want. Nice little shake and bake, a little spinneroozy, and there he goes. There you go. That's what we need out of you. Good job out of you. Good hustle by Cameron Hayward all the way downfield, I'll say that, for the old man. All right, Flacco now in the shotgun. 11 personnel again. Man in motion is T. Higgins. He's got Chase Brown to his right, but he throws it over the middle. That looked like pass interference to me, and yes, they are calling that. On Jalen Ramsey. Second penalty against him. Future Hall of Famer, for sure. Jalen Ramsey. You realize Jalen Ramsey has like 7 Pro Bowls and 3 All-Pro ones. So looking at his career earlier. Yeah, definitely turned him. Got there too early with the left hand, Mr. Ramsey, and turned him. That's no bueno. That's DPI. All right, 1st and 10 now. 3:35 remaining in the second quarter. Jamar Chase has drawn the most DPIs of any receiver in the league, apparently, according to this stat. Now Flacco hands it off to Pirine, and Pirine gets about 7-8 yards off the left side. Nicely done. A little change of pace back. Shamari Pirine. Now he's under center, and Brown 7 yards back. It's going to be a pass, though. Over the middle, he's got T. Higgins, makes a move. He's taking it down to the 5, all the way to the end zone. And that's the way you do it, boys. Attaboy. And that's one of the reasons why you draw up these little, check downs, because you got good enough players, they can take a check down to the house. Look at 75 stance. Orlando Brown has a weird stance. But, hey, it works for you, buddy. All right, but now Rodgers will definitely get the ball back with plenty of time. There's 2:52 remaining in the half as of this moment. So that Rodgers interception cost them 7 points, and the Bengals now lead 14-10. Bengals hanging right in there with Joey Flakes. This is what they were hoping for, not the other bull crap. This is the kind of performance they want out of old man Joe. Andrew Kemp asks, how do you feel about first overall? I think the Jets are doing some things during games that are questionable for tanking. No, the team is not trying to lose. First overall, it means that we're the worst team in the league. If that's the way it winds up, that's the way it winds up. But no team tries to lose games. There's no tanking going on. No. And certainly you wouldn't want the athletes, the players, to try to lose. That would be pretty bad. Ay karate, Cincy making this a game, yeah. They showed some fight and some resolve. Rodgers with some bad passes, and then Joey Flacco doing what he can do. Yeah, making some plays. I think they really found something softening up the defense with that running game. A lot of big gainers by Chase, and then Joey Flacco making him pay. So you'll love to see it. Big Al 2681. We are not beating Cincy either. Well, the way we're going, we're not going to beat anybody. So we'll have to see if we can improve our performance. Let's hope so. Flacco right now has a quarterback rating of 125.5, 11 out of 16, 102 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Nice performance. Aaron Rodgers, on the other hand, 10 out of 15, 101 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and a 80.1 quarterback rating. T. Higgins, 3 catches, 54 yards. Jamar Chase, 5 for 40. DK Metcalf has 2 for 45. Nothing really going on the wires. Daniel Oyefusi is a Browns reporter, and he says Joe Flacco's been with the Bengals for 10 days and has already thrown more TD passes than he did in 4 starts with the Browns. You know, it's so interesting. Joe Flacco, sometimes sometimes even with the Jets, he would look terrible, and then he goes somewhere else, then he looks good, and then he looks terrible again, and then he looks good. Like he was terrible with the Colts, but he was also good with the Browns when they made that crazy playoff run that year. So the Browns get him back this year, and they're like, okay, we got Flacco, so we can do good, right? And then he does terrible with them, and now he's looking okay with the Bengals. What the hell is going on with this guy? What is the variable that unlocks the Flacco magic? One has to wonder. So 14-10 is the score. Cincinnati on top. 2:47 remaining in the first half. And Rodgers now will start out with the ball on about the 30-yard line or so, the minus 30. This is 13 personnel, so they got 3 tight ends on the field right now. Looks like a running play. It sure is. Jaylen Warren gets 3 yards, but there's a fumble, but I think he was down. Yeah, he was down. Definitely not Fumbolaya. Let's take a look. Looked like he was down, but you should always check the replay unless you absolutely know. Yeah, knee down. Yep, he's down. So it'll be second down and 7 or 8 right now. Yeah, second and 7. Rodgers back to pass, looks to the left, looks to the right, dumps it off to Warren. Does he make a man miss? Yes, he does. You got to make that tackle, young man. Boy, oh boy, the missed tackling epidemic. You got to make the tackle, young man. It was a routine pass for Mr. Rodgers. Andrew Kemp says, been a Jets fan since LT21 came to the Jets, and I'm starting to think there should be a rule that if you haven't made the playoffs in 100 years, you start to get two firsts every year until. Yeah, that'd be a nice rule. I agree. We could lodge a complaint with the league office, see if they'll take our complaint or not. But I got bad news for you, Andrew. The future is not bright. No matter what happens with Aaron Glenn or anything else, New England has an elite quarterback and Buffalo has an elite quarterback. I just don't see how we're going to do anything in the next 15 years unless we also luck into an elite quarterback as well. This year, and we pick the right ones somehow. So, it's going to be tough. As I said at the time, if Gerard Mayo gets fired, I said the Jets are going to be in decades-long trouble because if Gerard Mayo didn't get fired, Mike Vrabel would be our coach, which would have been the preferred outcome, obviously. But if Mayo were to be fired, which he was, then Vrabel would take the Patriot job, which he did. And now you're seeing the combination, because the only way that Drake May could get screwed up is if with bad coaching, like Adam Gase level, Gerard Mayo level coaching. And now that he has sort of like steady Eddie coaching, average to above average coaching, you're seeing what he's doing. He's elite. So that's trouble for us. Big, big trouble. And so good luck, Jets. It's going to be a long 15 years, probably. But you never know. Maybe some miracle could happen. You never know in this world and in this crazy sport. So we'll see. We'll see. But it's not looking promising right now, obviously. Might be a long time coming until we're able to compete. Long time coming. Now, if Gerard Mayo could have just coached better, we could have, we really could have done something. All right, now it's first down and 10, though. Minute 58 remaining, coming back from the 2-minute warning. Rodgers looking out from the shotgun. He's got 12 personnel with Jonnu Smith. Hands it off to Jaylen Warren. Yeah, gets 4 or 5 yards. Clock ticking down. They got all their timeouts, so no problem as far as time is concerned. And now Aaron Rodgers has officially passed Ben Roethlisberger, man who used to wear the Steeler uniform, for 5th most passing yards in a career. Hands it off to Warren again. Pretty strange that they're just running the ball here, but third down. Arthur Smith, known as a conservative play caller, for sure. Loves his tight ends, that's for sure. Freiermuth in the game. So now they're letting the clock really run. I mean, it's not a problem. It's 108, but they're not really in a hurry here. 3rd and 4. They're at the plus 45-yard line, so they're not in field goal range just yet, but not far away from it. Rodgers back to pass, looks left, can't find anybody, throws it over the middle. Dump down pass to Warren, who gets tackled, and they have all their timeouts, so there's not a problem. And I guess they took one. Yep. So 49 seconds remaining. They're inching closer to field goal range for the great Chris Boswell, who, of course, kicked a 60-yard field goal against us. Rodgers now, again with 12 personnel. But the interesting thing is that Jonnu Smith is more like a wide receiver than he is a tight end. So he's a tight end technically, but you get some of the same functionality out of him. But 12 personnel nonetheless, and Rodgers back to pass. Looks who's right now, goes left, dumps it off. A very short pass to Gainwell, who only gets a yard or so. So that play didn't work at all. 2nd down, 2nd timeout. Well, now they got to probably save one, so they really don't want to get tackled. They don't want a sack here. You don't want a short gain over the middle, although it wouldn't be the worst thing, but and now they're bringing it in the booth for the insightful commentary of Al Michaels and Kirk Dumstreet. Man who went 3/4 of the Jets game one time saying that Chuck Clark was making all these plays. Only problem, Chuck Clark was on IR at the time. And he doesn't get in trouble. Nothing happens to him. He just continues blabbering on. And Rodgers now throwing to the sideline for Metcalf, who they say made the catch, but the defender has the ball. I don't know what they're doing here. These refs, I mean, if you think these refs can officiate this one, good luck. They can barely call holding. This should have been a pick. And they're talking it over now. If you think these stupid refs, let's see. Nobody's down. Nobody's down. That's a pick. Well, does 20 have 2 feet inbounds? Good job by the defensive back. He takes it from him, but does he have 2 feet in? That's the only thing. Does Turner have 2 feet in? One? No, he doesn't. Oh, and a knee. Oh, there's a knee in. The knee might be the thing. Huh? This is gonna be interesting. I think it's a pick or whatever you'd call it. I guess a fumble, maybe. This is a routine pass for Rodgers, but I think that's a pick. Referee Frankie says that's a pick. Rodgers is arguing. They're dancing in the end zone. 28 seconds. Remaining. They're just going to probably kneel down here. They probably shouldn't risk. I mean, depending where they are. But really, the refs also. Well, he was out of bounds. But so this is going to be too deep in their own territory, and I don't know if that's a pick or a fumble, but either way, great effort by the defensive back there. Never give up. Play through the hands. They tell you play through the hands. That's what he was doing. So 28 seconds. They have one timeout. They're not going to push the envelope here, I don't think. Let's get the play under. Let's get this going and make it official. Yeah. Well, no, they're in the shotgun. They're going to pass. This is a dumb idea. No, no, no. Although Joe throws one nicely. That is a great throw. Attaboy, Joe. Boy, he's going to be able to throw until he's 60 years old, isn't he? Both of these guys, really. That's a heck of a pass as long as he got the feet down. Catch, 1, 2. Yep, he got it. But still, I mean, well, when you're 2 and 4, I mean, be aggressive, What? Oh, it's under review. He has it. What are they talking about? Karate says it was credited as an int. Yeah, that's what the stats have it. So Rodgers' current passer rating 62.9 as compared to Joe Flacco 128.8. So they credited that as a pick. Chase has it. Foot, drag. What's the problem? Look at the strength and conditioning coach on the sideline. It's so weird about Joe Flacco, man. He looks so terrible sometimes, and then he goes somewhere new, and bada bing, he looks like he's 25 years old again. It's so strange. So Pittsburgh Steelers say congratulations to Aaron Rodgers for moving into 5th place on the NFL's all-time passing list. So there you go. That's pretty much the reason he came back this year, of course. And I guess to have a little fun. But it's like, the Browns were thinking, all right, we got Joe back, we got Flacco back. Last time he was on this team a couple of years ago, he took us to the playoffs, if you remember that. And all right, it'll be him or Pickett, and we got these 2 kids. We'll see what happens. And they go with Flacco. Pickett gets hurt. He hurts the hamstring and whatnot. He goes and gets it, goes in there, and he's throwing too many picks. It's a pick factory, and they trade him, and now he's doing this. It's so weird, isn't it? How do you account for this? Joe Flacco magic is back. The Flack magic is back. Magic. Incomplete. What? Why? Say he didn't possess it. That's bullshit. That's baloney. That's baloney. That's a bunch of baloney. He had it. Well, they're in the shotgun. They're still going to try and move the ball. They're at their own 30. There's 37 seconds left. Flacco finds Chase this time. Get out of bounds, Jamar. And he does. Give him a routine on that one. Seconds remaining. First and 10, trying to get into field goal position. Evan McPherson, good kicker on the sideline over here. And they're at the 45. So not too far yet to go. They're putting the pressure on Flacco now. Throws, and he's got Chase again out of bounds. So it seems like Flacco getting into a rhythm now. So first the running game got into a rhythm. Now Flacco getting into a rhythm. So all kinds of rhythms being getting into over here. Gotten into, I guess you'd say. Second down at 1. 25 seconds remaining. Flacco over the middle. Ooh, almost picked off. That was bad. Flag. Flag on the play. Got to be a flag. We got to make it about the officials. Everybody knows you watch professional football because you need to see the refs on television. Pass interference defense. Number 24, Joey Porter Jr. Junior. They called him for DPI. So that should get him into. Nah, that's not a penalty. Terrible call by the terrible refs who suck ass and are terrible. Referees ruin the game of football, and why do we have to have it like this? Just let them play, dummies. Boy, do I hate the refs. They're probably not in field goal range just yet. Flacco now back to pass and out route toward Chase. That's overthrown. That's a bad pass. 16 seconds left. We just need like a check down. I would just throw a check down right now, call timeout, kick the field goal. Let's keep it simple, Taylor. Can't complicate everything. Just throw a check down to your running back, timeout, kick the field goal, and be happy. Gotta get all fancy. 11 personnel now. Flacco in the gun. There you go. Throws a check down to the tight end. Go down, Fant. Call timeout. Kick a field goal. When you have a timeout, what are you doing? Running up to the line, there's 2 seconds left, and you have a timeout. What the hell are you doing, dummies? If only this Flacco guy had some experience. Maybe he'd know what to do. Jeez. Right, lining up for the field goal now. 2 seconds remaining. A 49-yard attempt for McPherson. Good snap, good hold, right down the middle. He's got it. So it was looking bad initially for the Bengals, but they came fighting back, roaring back, you might say. 2 interceptions for Mr. Rodgers. Joey Flaky Flacco got on Tracko, and now they're backo. So they're up by 7 as we hit the halftime show. Now, we're not going to be able to play any music today because we're on OBS. What I will do is grade these quarterbacks and tell you what their passing grade is as far as the Frankie system is concerned for this game here. Today is 10/16/25. We got Rodgers. So we just grade the passes in the system. Our system does have other things you can grade if you want to. I have found that if you just grade the passes, it gives you what you need. Rodgers, I had so far 1 elite pass, no great passes, 1 solid, 13 routine, 3 bad, and 1 interceptable. That would be a grade of 1.895, which translates to a C plus. So far, Rodgers with a C plus. Oh, so make sure this is calculating correctly. Yeah. Okay. Now let's do Mr. Flacco. Flacco, 10, 16, 20, 20, 16, 25. Paste this here for Mr. Flacco. Mr. Flacco goes to Washington. All right. Flacco, I had no elite passes, 1 great pass, 3 solid, 13 routine, 6 bad, no interceptables. That gets you a 1.652, which is a C in the Frankie grading system. So Rodgers slightly better. Basically, that 1 elite throw is really pulling his grade up. Other than that, it's been a very bad game for him. And you know what's interesting is he obviously has 2 interceptions, but that throw that got that weird interception, I can't fault him for that. You know, that was not an interceptable pass. It's almost like it was almost like a tip if you think about it. So even though he has 2 interceptions, I have him just for 1 interceptable, which was the first one he threw. Whereas if he had another one of those, it'd be obviously a worse grade. So that's what we got going on. That's what we got going on. All right, we'll take a little break. We'll return in a moment. Because we're on OBS, no music, but you'll have to hum to yourself. Ablab checking in. Ablab, I'm on OBS, so I can't bring your chat up. I'm looking into some plugins. Hang on, Ablab. Streamlabs for OBS. Streamlabs plugin. So hopefully this will work, Ablab. Well, we're not going to be able to use it now, but Ablab says you are too young to be a Jimmy Stewart fan. Now, what is that in reference to, Ablab? I can like it. I can heart it. So that's pretty good. So this chat function works pretty good for super chats. So that's good. But I like old movies, dude. Dude, Ablab. Guess what book I'm recording now as an audiobook? Take a guess. Old movies being a clue. Public domain. Of course, my bailiwick. Take a guess. Take a guess. We got 4 minutes to go in the halftime. But I think what I'm going to do, chat, is I think I'm going to go with OBS and I'm going to just try and find some plugins to make it a little more functional, equivalent to StreamYard, and then I'm going to have it for free. I'll be able to stream for free instead of streaming for $45 a month. You know, sometimes you got to be economical in life. Sometimes you got to be economical. Oh, Jeremy's here. Jeremy, I can't bring the Jeremy, unless you know how to do it, I can't bring the chat up on the screen through OBS. So I can't bring your comments up, Jeremy. I'm reading them, but there's a plugin I can get for next time. Obviously, can't do it now. You have to restart everything, but not familiar with that app. Well, Jets Chaos, Jeremy, the reason I'm experimenting with it, it costs $0 per month, and StreamYard costs $45 a month. And who wouldn't like to have $45 extra dollars every month? This guy. I would. So if I can get the functionality to be pretty much the same, might as well. And I will say OBS is my preferred way to make regular old videos. I used to make them on Restream or StreamYard, but I can do those on OBS just the same. And so if it works for live streaming also, and I get the functionality similar, well, that to me is a win-win. It's open source. It's not run by any big giant company. Yeah, these evil companies, they come along, they want all your money, and they give you no services. Well, not OBS. It's free, open source, has all sorts of plugins apparently. I'm going to be finding out about that after tomorrow. So there we go. No real news being reported at the moment, football-wise. A lot of talk about this Brian Branch situation with the Chiefs, and I may be in the minority, but I don't think Brian Branch did anything wrong, personally. At some point after you get bullied so much, you got to stand up for yourself. You know, if the refs aren't going to call blocking in the back, if the refs aren't going to call these penalties on the Chiefs, you got to stand up for yourself at some point in time. And when you're getting bullied, the only way to deal with a bully, of course, is to punch him right in the fucking mouth, which is what he did. That may be politically incorrect, may be against the rules, but you got to stand up for yourself. So I respect Brian Branch for what he did, actually. I think he did the right thing. Brian Branch did nothing wrong, in my opinion. Got to stand up for yourself in this life. Can't let bullies just bully you all day long. What a world we live in. What a world we live in, huh? Joe Flacco can play quarterback forever. Aaron Rodgers can play quarterback forever. But when they play for us, they stink. These bums. What are you going to do? And both of these guys played for us, and they stunk. Yeah. All right, well, the Bengals are going to get the ball back to start this second half. They're already leading by 17-10. And they showed some fight there. The beginning of the game looked like they were left for dead, but they actually showed they have a backbone and fought back a little bit. And they got the running game going with Chase Brown. And then after that got established and loosened him up, then Joe Flacco started carving him up. So you get the running game going, then you get the passing game going. Now you're formidable. That's how we do it. All right, Flacco under center now, 11 personnel, little smoke route out to Jamar Chase. He makes a man miss, but then he gets tripped up. But still an okay gainer on first down. Be 2nd and 4 or so. Man he made miss is Darius Slay in his final year in the NFL. Old man Slay. Well, yeah, Slay technically made the tackle, almost made him miss, I guess you could say. Not exactly sure how he tripped him up. He touched his cleat or something, touched a shoelace, and now Slay is down. Big play Slay has said in the past that this would be his final season. 6-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro. He will not be in the Hall of Fame with that kind of credential. But guess who will? Jalen Ramsey is certainly a Hall of Famer. If you look at his accomplishments. All right, 2nd down and 5 now. Flacco in the shotgun. He's got 11 personnel. He's got a 2-by-2. Now he moves Yoshibasha over right to left to get an unbalanced strength. Throws down, check down to Chase again. So these check downs to Chase seems to be where they want to attack. You know, it doesn't need to be too complicated. Get the ball to your playmakers. Let's notify Justin Fields of this. He might take a lesson. Just get the ball to your guys. Let them run. It doesn't need to be complicated. They're down in 2 right now. Flacco looking out there. He's at the plus 40. He's at the minus 40-yard line. He hands it off to Brown right up the middle. He's got the first down. Good job by the O-line. Good job by, it's not Chase Brown. It's Pirine. Samari Pirine. He likes to wear a big beard. He's the bearded fellow. And, yeah, they got 102 rushing yards already. That's what you got to do to loosen them up, as the Jets did. Run, 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 and then you hit them with the pass, just when they're not looking for it, you know? Got to be sneaky with it. All right, we got 11 personnel. We got a 3-by-1 formation now with Yoshivashi moving left to right. They hand it off to Brown going to the left. He finds a crease and gets about 6 or 7 yards on first down. That's a good gain on first down. Good job, Chase Brown. Should be second down and short. And the offensive line now getting some comfortability, getting some confidence going. If you remember early in the game, they were getting beat all over the place. They were looking bad. Well, now with this running game going, they're getting that going. They're beating them up, and that makes them feel good. Confidence high, All good things happen when you can run the ball. Now we got a 3-by-1 again, and here's a pass to Chase. Gets it all the way to the 33-yard line. Little routine passes. Take what they give you, Justin Fields. Take note, Mr. Fields. You can just throw short passes sometimes. It's okay. It's all right. If the man's open, just hit him, buddy. If it's good enough for Flacco, it should be good enough for Fields. I mean, everybody knows Joe Flacco is elite. 17 out of 24, 153 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks for Mr. Flakes. Now looks to the right. He's got Chase again. And again, just these little check down dump offs. Good enough. If that's what they're giving you, take it. Ain't no problems. Flacco's smart enough to do that. Don't force it. Don't force it. Dump it off. Let the man run. That's what you got him for. Question is Zach Taylor a better play caller than Kevin Stefanski? How about that for a question? All right, Flacco now hands it off to Chase Brown up the middle, gets 3 or 4 yards on first down. They're definitively inside of field goal range for sure. But, of course, they want more. 2nd down and 7. Yeah, they're making hay with this 11 personnel grouping. Flacco now, here comes the rush, avoids it, throws it deep to the right, throws it away. Throw away. Throwaways and batted balls do not count against you in the Frankie grading system. Seven, another routine. Right at the line. Let's see if he got it. Yoshivas. No, they're saying he did not. That's a bad spot, in my opinion. That's like a full yard off. The hell? 4th and 1. They're not even considering the field goal. Take the points, dum-dum. I mean, you're up 7. You could go up 10. 4th and 1. You're not going to take the field goal? What? These coaches, and they're not taking field goals. Oh, they're just trying to draw them off sides. No, they do a quarterback sneak, and Flacco gets it. What are they doing now? How are these refs going to fuck it up now? They're dumbass. So they didn't give it to him. First of all, he got the first down. Oh, now they're going back to this play? Yeah, this play was also a first down that they fucked up. These refs are horrible. I would like to put in another endorsement. I'm not sponsored by it or have any affiliation with it whatsoever, but I would encourage everyone to go to benchwarmerbrew.com. Get yourself a bag of coffee. It's called Fuck the Refs Coffee. Brandon Pernis sells it. He's a good YouTube content creator for the Broncos. And I say, fuck these refs. They are the most terrible. I mean, I think they're blind. I saw that play was a first down, the one with the receiver, and they were off by a yard. How are these idiots? This is their job. How are they off by a full yard? It's not even close. So fucking dumb. So fucking dumb these people are. They're ruining our sport. But, hey, why get things right when you can be an idiot instead? I guess Zach Taylor, it seems like Zach Taylor, if you think about it, like, now why couldn't Jake Browning perform like this? I don't know. I guess Jake Browning's just very bad. But maybe the offense is the thing at Cincinnati. Not necessarily Joe Burrow, which really, makes you think, should they have paid Joe Burrow? If the offense is so good that Joe Flacco can run it or somebody else could run it, do we really need to pay a quarterback all that money when we got such a good system? That sort of thing. That's the debate right now. Brandon Eccles on the tackle there. So I guess they said they spotted the ball, which was obvious, but they're saying he still didn't get the first down though. And now it's inches away. So now they got to rerun this play, even though he actually, and now he's got it. So they do the tush push with old man Flacco. I mean, he's doing everything. He's doing a tush push. He's throwing the ball. He's doing this and that. Hey, Drew Sample with the push of the tush. And they hand it off to Pirine, gets a few yards. Florida Jets fan is here. It's the battle of two former Jet QBs. Yeah, there's a lot of former Jet QBs out there, huh? But really, it's the former Packers and former Ravens quarterback, if you think about it. They had long careers before they arrived at our shores, Florida Jets fan. Long, successful careers. Yeah. All right, Flacco now second and goal. So they didn't want the field goal. That wasn't good enough. So let's see if they can get the touchdown out of it. Throws it to the right end zone. That's knocked away by Ramsey. That's a nice play by Jalen Ramsey. But ball should have been more outside and probably low. Would have been harder to knock away, but a nice play by Jalen Ramsey nonetheless. A little out route by T. Higgins, and Ramsey stays attached, knocks it away. Nicely done. But if you throw it low, a lot harder to do that. But still, nice play by Ramsey, the Hall of Famer. Now it'll be 3rd and goal. They're at the 4.5 yard line. Flacco back to pass, looking, rolling right, and dirts it. Count that as a throwaway. So now they got to settle for the field goal anyway. Well, I guess it was worth a try, but that's Chuck Clark. Oh yeah, forgot that they had Chuck Clark, former Jet Chuck Clark. How about him? 21. McPherson will go for the field goal, and that's a chip shot. He nails it. Rodgers has 19 attempts, 15. 21. So Florida Jets fan says, "Oh, of course, we always have the leftovers and the raw meat at the same time." Yeah, if it's not one thing, it's another. I mean, I think one of the lessons you can learn here is that the organization, the Jets organization, treated Rodgers the exact wrong way, because the Steelers now Rodgers is not playing well tonight, and he hasn't played well this season, but they're winning, so you know. But I mean, they're 4-1. Um, but still, I think the way we handled the whole Rodgers situation was wrong. That's what you're learning, I think, here. We should have just treated them like the Steelers treated them. It's like, you want to be on our team? Great. You do what we say. You do what the OC says. We're not going to bring in all these people. We're not going to let you decide who we bring in. We're not going to, let you run everything and have free reign. You're just going to run the plays we tell you to run, or you don't, or you're not here. But we didn't do that. We just catered everything to him. We thought that was the right approach. Turned out not so good. But it's not like he's played better with the Steelers. They're just winning. The Steelers win. That's what they do. Could be an organizational thing. Yeah. That's one of those things too. It's like uh, the organizational gravity, or whatever you want to call it. A team that's used to winning, has a winning culture, knows how to win. Just sort of like the momentum of winning. Whereas the Jets, when other teams like the other teams in the ghetto with us, the Browns, the Bears, and everybody, we have the momentum of losing. We're just a bunch of losers. We just lose all the time. So it's like, how do you break out of the momentum of losing? Well, Aaron Glenn's going to have to figure that one out. All right, so Rodgers now taking over, 2nd and 5, 7:11 remaining in the third quarter. So it was a nice long drive by the Bengals, only resulting in a field goal, though. Here's another handoff to Jaylen Warren, and he picks up the first down on a 6-yard gain. They're running their 12 and 13 personnel. You wonder if this team, the Steelers, could use a wide receiver named Alan Lazard, and if they would want to give us a little 7th-round pick or a 6th-round pick for it. They really are light on wide receiver talent, but they're making up for it with lots and lots of tight ends. And such is their want anyway, so. Rodgers now under center. They got a big boy, especially big boy formation going on here. I think they have an extra lineman, 74. So they do, and they run Warren, and Warren's able to break it through to the 40. Now to the 30. Gets pushed out at about the 25-yard line. He was about to break it. That was an special jumbo package. And Jaylen Warren took advantage of that one. They're jumbo all the time, and then they bring in an extra lineman to go super jumbo. And it worked. And blocked it up nice. There he goes. If it wasn't for Geno Stone pushing him, he probably takes it to the house. So nice job by the O-line. Nice job by 74. They got him in again. Looks like the extra lineman here. Yeah, he definitely is. Tight end eligible. They want tight ends, and when tight ends aren't available, they make a tight end eligible out of a lineman. That's Arthur Smith, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, if it works, it works. Yeah. Al Golden. Defense didn't look golden to start with, but it had some, stiffened up a bit, and now Steelers' first drive of the second half, they're carving them up. But the Bengals got to be sniffing, the possibility of a win here. So this defense got to be anxious to do their thing. That's a bad pass. Third down and 8 now. Third down and 8. Florida Jets fan. Rodgers through the at the half he was a C grade. No bueno. Rodgers now back to pass out of the shotgun. Looks like 12 personnel. Throws it to Wilson over the middle. That's a first down. A lot of routine passes for Rodgers. Rodgers has one elite pass, no great, one solid, 16 routine, 4 bad, 1 interceptable, 1 throwaway. Lots of underneath stuff. That's been the way he's been playing this whole season. Ooh, and he threw another interceptable. But there's a penalty flag on the play. His official passer rating is 59.9 according to ESPN right now. Whereas Joe Flacco's 104.5. Yeah, he's got 2 interceptables, even though he has 2 interceptions. Illegal shift on the Steelers. So if that was intercepted, it would have. Oh no, there's a offsetting on. So that play wouldn't have counted no matter what. But yeah, I count even throws where the penalties wipe them out. I still count the throws. And that interception that he threw, the weird one, I didn't count that as interceptable because it was like a tip. Tips, sort of like a tip if a ball gets tipped. You can't fault the quarterback for that. He was off the field, by the way. So I think another missed call by the refs. They should have a score on here on the bug. Missed calls by dumbass refs who don't know what they're doing and ruin the sport. All right, Rodgers fakes the handoff, now throws it out to Darnell Washington on a tight end screen who loses about 1,000,000 yards. If you're going to throw a tight end screen, why would you throw it to Darnell Washington? He's the size of a mountain. But for screen purposes, that's not the guy you want. You want Freiermuth or Jonnu Smith to catch that. We're going to throw a tight end screen to Darnell Washington? I mean, the man's not exactly fleet of foot. And you got 2 tight ends who are. All right, now Rodgers back to pass, dumps it off. That was, I'm going to say, bad. 3rd and 18 now. So these passes are getting worse and worse. I wonder if this is even interceptable. Nah, just bad because it's late. Lateness equals bad. And, of course, Rodgers upset, screaming and yelling. It can't be his fault. And now number 20's down. That's bad. I mean, I don't know how these teammates deal with Rodgers yelling and screaming at them in front of everybody. anytime anything goes wrong. How's that leadership? I'd like to know. Rodgers always having a hissy fit. Yeah, Florida. That's what I'm saying. The man can't take responsibility for anything. That was a bad throw. It was late. If you throw late, that's bad. If you throw over a guy's head, yeah, that's bad. Throw interceptable passes, that's bad. But he's got to be mad at somebody because it can't possibly be him. He's the greatest thing since sliced bread. He can't possibly take the blame for anything. Well, now Turner has to go off, and that's bad for the Bengals because he was playing really well. And now it's third down and 18. The Steelers are clearly in field goal range for Boswell, who's one of the best. So third and 18 from the about the 19-yard line. So Rodgers now back to pass, throws over the middle. He's got a man. It's Fryermuth, and he's got him. Now there's a nice pass. Yeah, that's a great pass. So there you go. You got it, and they didn't come after him, I don't think. And of course, the guy goes out. Rodgers sees it, attacks the guy who came in. Four-man rush, didn't put any pressure on Rodgers whatsoever. Well, one guy came free, but not quick enough. Yeah, no bueno. Touchdown, Rodgers and the Steelers. Boswell's got the extra point. So 20-17, we got a ball game, ladies and gentlemen. And the Bengals really miss Trey Hendrickson, don't they? They really miss. I mean, they have no pass rush tonight at all. They really miss Hendrickson, but that's why you got to have waves of these guys. Got to have waves of them. Well, Rodgers now up to a 75.3 passer rating on the game. Officially 16 out of 24, 142 yards, two tutties, two picks. Joe Flacco, on the other hand, 19 out of 29, 173 yards, two touchdowns, no picks, 104.5 rating. So interesting game. These quarterbacks are playing pretty well. They're not really showing their age, to be honest. I do think that the Bengals defense, if you think about it, really the Steelers defense should be better than it is. They have better players. The Bengals just don't have the horses, especially with Hendrickson out. So you got to give them credit for what they have been able to do. But you can see there's just not enough pass rush. And, third and 18, defensive coordinator's probably thinking, well, do I really want to send the blitz? It's Aaron Rodgers. He knows how to handle the blitz. So, but I don't know. I think you got to speed him up. Next week, we can take a look at Justin Herbert and maybe J.J. McCarthy or maybe Carlton Wentz. So that'll be next Thursday. And by then, hopefully, I have some of these plugins plugged in and get some extra functionality going. We could see some of the comments on screen, for example. Well, Joe Flacco now takes back over. They seem to like these 11 personnel, 3-by-1 sets. He drops it off to Chase Brown, doesn't have the numbers, does a spin-a-roozy. That's not going to go anywhere. Second down and 12 now. Flacco drops it off. T. Higgins. Yeah, this check down offense seems to be working out pretty good. But now you got to convert on third down. See how they want to attack it. A lot of simple stuff: slants, smokes, quick game, you know, hooks, you know. But hey, if you matriculate the ball down the field, it doesn't really matter how. It doesn't matter if it's simple. Now we got a 2-by-2 formation. They do blitz. He's going deep on this one, and he's got a man. Do I give great or elite? This was perfectly thrown. I think that's Yoshivas. I'd give him an elite on this one. This is a perfectly thrown deep ball. This is elite. Yep. All right, that's one elite for Joey Flakes. Good job, buddy. And it was ballsy. Third down. Left hand bleeding also. Got to get that bandaged up, Joe. Florida Jets fan, are you watching the All 22 Prime Vision? No, I tried that once. I didn't like it. I'm just watching the TV copy. Maybe I'll try it someday. But it's hard enough to keep track of all the stuff we want to keep track of just looking at the normal angles. They have all these new angles. Makes it even harder because you're not used to it. Hike Karate says the deep ball is Flacco's specialty. Yeah, he can do that, but it's also his downfall sometimes when he throws picks too much, like he was doing with the Browns. But yeah, his arm strength is never a question. It's just always the accuracy part. Flacco now throws it underneath. That's a bad pass. Now they did bog down here the last time, so they're able to move the ball once again against this vaunted Steeler defense. Old man Flacco picking them apart, and but they were able to hold him to a field goal last time, and they're looking to do that once again. So let's see if Joey Flakes can punch this one in. 5 seconds on the play clock. They hand it off to Chase Brown. He runs it up the middle for a few yards, but it was second and goal, so it doesn't really help. Takes it all the way to the 5, but now it's third and goal from the 5. And the third quarter will come to an end as they switch sides. So 20-17 at the end of the third quarter. Florida Jets fan says, bad pass, but smart play. Guy in his face and nobody open. He turfed it. The All 22 shows that. Maybe. I'd like to see a replay. So a lot of times you really need a replay to see what's going on. So, for instance, he could have been trying to hit that running back low and outside and just threw it too low and outside. But the thinking being, you know, if I put it, I'll take a chance low and outside, and if it goes too low and outside, I'm good because he can't be intercepted. That is smart. But it was still inaccurate, so I gave him a bad. But that's why, Florida Jets fan, I say everybody should become a member of this channel because then you can get your own scoring sheet and keep track of it on your own. Because a lot of this stuff really is judgment calls. Some people would call a throw elite. Some people would call it great. It's just up to you. I mean, there is a judgment aspect of it. So I would encourage folks to do that and get all the sheets, get all the scoring methodologies. It's all built in, of course, and you can keep track of the throws yourself and come up with your own scores. Yeah. The more people we have doing these scoring things, I think, and charting, I think it's better for fandom in general. I think there's too many fans who either look at the stats or they just look at what the television tells them or they just, or don't know what they're looking at. And they come to wrong conclusions. The more charting you do, the smarter you become, my opinion. So they're saying the cornerback DJ Turner had muscle cramps, is expected to return. Got to eat some bananas, young man. That's what helps with that. But we do got ourselves a ball game. Let's see if the Bengals are able to punch it in here. It would be kind of a disappointment to kick a field goal, although not the worst outcome, of course. But I really would like to punch it in and punish this defense that you've been able to move the ball very, very well up and down the field. You just don't want to get stalled out in the low red zone. That's very demoralizing. And you wonder if Zach Taylor will make this 4-down territory or if he'll be content with another field goal attempt here as it's 3rd and goal now. We're back. We got 11 personnel, man in motion. Flacco looks to the right, throws it over the middle, has a man. He's got him. It's Noah Fant for a touchdown. Attaboy, Joey Flakes. Bengalis with the touchdown, so we don't have to know whether or not they would have tried the field goal or gone for it on 4th down. Yeah, monkeys never cramp. Yeah, they're cramp free. Of course, monkeys never play football either, so. McPherson puts it through. 27-17 Bengals. Just as everyone had predicted here in the 4th quarter. Joe Flacco putting on a clinic. Nicely done. Zach Taylor must have thought to himself, man, if I put Joe Flacco in my system, I can make it work. But what does that say about Jake Browning, though? Not much. Not much. Flacco still got it. Flacco still got it. But also, what does it say about the Browns' offense? What is Kevin Stefanski running? That Joe Flacco looked really bad as a Brown. And then what is Zach Taylor running? It's mostly these underneath routes and little stick routes and slants. But he's moving the ball against the Steeler defense. And I don't think it speaks too highly of the Browns offense and Kevin Stefanski. This is the same quarterback. He was your chosen starter. And you couldn't make it work? Well, obviously Zach Taylor's making it work. I don't think this reflects very well on Stefanski, to be honest. Karate says he did not see this coming. Yeah, I don't think most people saw it coming, to be honest. Man, if we could ever find it like a really good play caller, play designer, man, that'd be nice. Well, now Rodgers gets the ball back, and they're going to run it with Jalen Warren, and he finds a hole, and there he goes. Big gainer for Warren, still on his feet. Jesus Christ, this Bengals defense. Oof. They should just keep running it. They can't stop the run. Al Golden cannot stop the run. Where's the linebackers getting caught up in the wash? Got to fight through that 55. Rodgers now in the shotgun. I would just keep running it if I was Tomlin and Arthur Smith. Well, this is an extended run. Dink and dunk passes. Hey, if it works, it works. It's amazing his 44 can't tackle. These people can't tackle. You thought the Jets couldn't tackle. Look at this crew. It's a league-wide epidemic of poor tackling. Rodgers in the shotgun now. Throws it out. He's just throwing little smoke routes. Quick game all day long. Quick game, quick game, quick game. Maybe a little press man. How about a little press man on the defense, Al Golden? Take that shit away. Oh, then they'll hit you over the top. Uh-oh. Third down now. We got 12 personnel, but one of the tight ends is Jonnu Smith. He's kind of like a wide receiver. 3rd and 4. All the way at the plus 12-yard line already. And a little drop off to Darnell Washington. He's got the first down. Might want to cover him, 42. And they hand it off to Jalen Warren. He's going to take it to the 2-yard line. College 2? What do you mean karate? What's in college 2? Or tackling? 2nd and goal. Rodgers back to pass. They do blitz him, and he finds Mount Washington for a tutty. See, that's why Golden didn't want to blitz him. But when Rodgers is on, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And they didn't get home, of course. That was part of the problem. Oh, 27-24. High scoring affair. That guy's really developed into a nice little specialized player. Darnell Washington, that is. Yeah, poor tackling. I think it's something about the way they practice these days. It's not the same as the old days. It's too soft. Plus the rules, all the rules changes that are bad for defense makes you go soft and be soft. Worried about hitting a guy, worried about hitting the, if it's the quarterback running, you got to let him slide, and there's special rules for how you sack the quarterback. I mean, it's ridiculous. I think it's a lot of these things. They want to make it the National Wuss Ball League. And then, of course, the college and high schools just follow the standard, follow the example of the NFL. And, they want it to be the National Wuss Ball League for marketing purposes so that they can go get more women, more Swifties involved in the sport. And so they don't want it to be as violent as it used to be. And not to mention the international folks that they want to go and market to and put all these games in international markets. Well, in those countries, the predominant sport is soccer, and soccer is a non-contact sport. So, again, they don't want it to be so violent. So, it sucks for people who actually love the game as it was intended, but it's just the way it goes. Just the way it goes. I think it'd be quite an upset if the Bengals are able to win, even though it wasn't pretty. They don't have Hendrickson. The defense is not good. It'd be a nice win for them. And the Steelers really should be running away with this game. They have the running game. They have a lot of good players on defense. And if the Bengals are able to come away with it, man, be a nice little win for them. Boswell kicks it off. Oh, this is going back into the end zone. I don't know where that's going to come out to. It hit inside the zone and then bounced outside the zone. Let's go into the booth with Kirk Dumstreet. Mate says it's the open field missed tackles I hate. I hate missed tackles of all kind. Now they start with a run to Chase Brown to the left. He bounces out of it and picks up a first down. Good awareness there. So they're at the 32-yard line. They fake the handoff now. He rolls out a bit, throws it over to the tight end. He's got 10, 15, 20, 5-yard gain. Fant. Nicely done. Routine throw, though. It's amazing also when you start charting all these games, how many throws in a game are just routine throws. And then when you see a team like the Jets who can't even do that, it's very disheartening because the vast, vast majority of throws made by competent offensive teams are routine throws. Routine throw means you should make it 100% of the time. And that's what the vast, vast majority of throws are. That's batted. In any game, you know, and especially for competent offenses, it just makes it all the more frustrating to watch the Jets operate. I'll tell you that much. Can't even do that much. We got to hope for some improvement in the Tanner Engstrand area. Let's hope he does better going, the rest of the season, and so that he's not some kind of bum. How's he gonna be third down? I also do think too, though, that the two seasons that we had with Rodgers, one obviously wiped out by injury, and I think the second season he was playing injured for the most of the season, and I think you see that in the difference, the way he plays with the Steelers and how he was playing with us. He was making too many terrible throws with us. That was very unusual for him or for anybody, of that caliber. Another routine throw for Flacco, but a first down for the Bengals. So to me, it's like we didn't even really get the regular, the Rodgers that you would expect even for an old man, which is kind of what he's doing here with the Steelers, which is unfortunate. But again, that's part of our cursed nature. The Jets are kind of forever cursed. So just what happens to us. It's just kind of what happens to us. All right, Flacco now hands off to Brown up the middle, gets about 6 or 7 yards. Chase Brown having a day. Have a day, Chase Brown. Have a day, Chase Brown. Have yourself a day. And the Bengals have been able to move the ball on this defense, so that's good news for them. The offensive line has held up pretty well. 2nd down and 3 now. Here's a blitz, a run blitz, and they're going to call a hold on 74. And he kind of needed to hold the guy because he was about to kill his teammates. Rivers holding 74. Rivers, cry me a rivers. Right guard. Yeah, it's definitely a hold. But he was trying to. He was trying to. Man, they were not prepared for that blitz whatsoever, I'll tell you that. Cry me a rivers. 2nd down and 13. But like I was saying, they're moving the ball in this vaunted Steelers defense. Haven't heard much from T.J. Watt. Haven't heard much from Alex Highsmith. Flacco back to pass. That's a routine pass dropped. But that's another advantage of just having a quick game type of offense. Just get rid of the ball quick and you kind of neutralize the pass rush, which is good for everybody. Chase should have had that one. Third and 13. Probably just need to get a little closer for the field goal. Flacco looks to the right, throws. That's a bad pass. It's kind of just throwing it up to T. Higgins, hoping for a miracle here. Porter, good no call, but they got to call the no calls every time. Then keep it consistent. So it'll be a 45-yard field goal attempt by McPherson, and he's got it. So they go up by 6, 30 points put up by Joe Flacco and the Bengals offense. It's old man night. Old man night at the stadium. Let's go watch these old men fling it around, sling it around. Man, oh man. There's too many old men around here. So, yeah. Uh, and since we're talking about the Jets sucking, I'd like to remind folks that I have a pinned comment on this here chat room. If you're looking for a new hobby, you may want to listen to some free audiobooks, listen to some free independent rock band music. And to do that, you can go to my second channel, Frank's Audio Project. Link in the pinned comment in the chat on the top there. So that's for folks who need a new hobby, something to occupy their time. Because the Jets, we'll still follow them, of course. We'll still always follow them, but perhaps not as fervently, perhaps not so much of the time taken up uh, with following this 0-6 disaster of a team. And so if you're looking for a new hobby, you might want to consider those things. Check it out. You might like it. Otherwise, if you want to lean into Jets life, I would recommend joining the Frankie Inner Circle. The join by clicking the join button underneath this this video, and you get all the tools. You can do college scouting. We're going to need ourselves a new quarterback. You might want to know which one's the best based on your own charting of their throws and everything else. We got a whole quarterback grading system. We got a way that we do scores of the games in terms of drive charts and all of that. And the members, the channel members, they get all of that information. So if you really want to be into the Jets, click the join button. If you want to find other hobbies, maybe click over to Frank's Audio Project, my second channel, and check out some free audiobooks and free indie rock tunes. All right, back to football. Hi, Karate Super Bowl bound in 2040. Yeah, 2040 Karate, that's right. 2040. That's what I think, actually. And the Steelers now getting a good return out to the 40-yard line. Let's see if the Bengal defense can do something. Neither defense has really distinguished themselves tonight. However, the Bengals are very much undermanned, I would say, on the defensive side. And so, if they can just pull this out by hook or by crook, a little blitz here, a little, tackle there, they just need to get a few stops here. Pittsburgh continues with their big jumbo personnel, 13 personnel on the field now, as Rodgers is under center. They love their jumbo, and the Bengals have really had no answer for it. Warren gets the ball and takes it out a couple yards, so it'll be 2nd down and 8. It's a very interesting alignment and formations that the Steelers are using. They have the luxury of having somebody like a Jonnu Smith, who's a tight end with wide receiver, skills. Then they have the jumbo tight end in Darnell Washington, who's a tight end with offensive lineman size. So it's a very interesting team composition here. Rodgers in the shotgun, hands it off to Warren for 4 or 5 yards. So it'll be 3rd down and 4 or 5 here. as the Steelers are down by 6 with 6 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. So field goal does them no good here, though if they were in range with this much time left, they might go for it. They're not in range right now. 3rd down and 4. Rodgers in the shotgun. He's got 12 personnel. No, he's got 11 personnel on the field, I believe. That one player might be offsides on the left, but they're not going to call that, I don't think. Rodgers incomplete. 4th down. Now are they going to go for it? I would think that they would. Tomlin's typically conservative. Let's see what he does here. And Rodgers seems to be off the field. Yeah, so they're punting. That is one thing about Tomlin. He's pretty conservative. He's kind of old school on these 4th downs. Waitman in to kick, punts it away. Call for a fair catch, and downed at the 9-10 yard line. So Flacco will start there. 6 points up, 5:16 remaining. Can they get a nice long drive going and ice this baby? Ice, ice, baby. You know? Rodgers passer rating all the way up to 90.4 now. What's really helping him, he added that 3rd touchdown pass, of course. Oof. Adirondack Fly guys here. What's up, AFG? Good to see you, buddy. We're trying OBS tonight, AFG, so I can't bring your comment up on the screen. We're trying out some new technology, some new stuff, man. So, and we're, of course, doing our quarterback grading. That's what we're doing. But it looks like this OBS software is holding up pretty good. With a couple of plugins, I think it's going to work out really good. And guess what? OBS monthly cost is $0. So if I can get these plugins to work and it's the same as StreamYard, I can save myself $45 a month. Imagine what I could do with $45 extra, AFG. Yeah, exactly. $45 can go a long way. You can buy yourself a lot of cheeseburgers with $45 a month, I'll tell you that. TJ Watt has not had an impact on this game. I was saying Amarius Mims wasn't playing well early, but now they're showing him against Watt, and he's doing well. Of course, we had a young right tackle named Armand Membu, and he did very well against TJ Watt. It may be that TJ Watt is slowing down. What about that possibility? 45 scratch-offs. Yeah, you know who's big on scratch-offs? My mom. My mom loves the scratch-offs for some reason. All right, Joey Flakes now back to pass, looking for his guy Chase, and he drops it. Now, is this a bad pass or not? It was almost great, but was it too high? Chase makes great plays, but then he also drops the ball too much. Going up against Eccles. I'm going to say that's a great pass, actually. I'm giving Joey Flacco credit for that one. See, these are the judgment calls. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. You got judgment calls, man. I give that one great, even though Jamar, dropped it. Second down and 10. Here's a, they called it, what? Zone read with Flacco keeping it and running for 12 yards? What in the world? What in God's name is happening here? Did we enter a time machine and go back 10 years? Wait a minute. Was the flux capacitor invented? I think somebody got in a DeLorean and brought us back 10 years. They just did a zone read with Flacco, who kept it and ran 12 yards for a first down. Are we in? What is going on here? There must be a flux capacitor involved somehow. I would hand the ball off myself. They're going to pass. Flacco back to pass, looking. I would say that's a throwaway. How about running the ball, Zach Taylor? Take time off the clock. You're up by 6 here. And plus, they haven't been stopping your run very much. How about a little, and it's late in the game. You already beat them down. How about a little running game, Zach Taylor? A little Chase Brown action. Flight says that is the fastest I have ever seen him run. I mean, he must be feeling good if he's doing that. And they refuse to run the ball. Dumb. Dumb. Dumb, dumb, dumb. How many times do I have to call something and God damn it. Run the ball, man. They can't stop your run. It's the fourth quarter. This is the time you ground and pound it. You're up by 6 and you're dropping old man Flacco back. Dumb. Zach Taylor. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Now you got to throw it. God. These stupid coaches, man. And now you're going to give Rodgers all the time in the world. You're way backed up. Oh, now you're going to run it, you dummy. 3rd and 18. What a dummy. Boy, we think our play calling's bad. All these coaches, man, they overthink everything. They really do. Overthink everything. Run it down their throat. You're up by 6. You're deep in your own end. Pound it. Stupid. Now you're going to give Rodgers a chance for glory. And you know what he's going to do? He's going to carve you up, man. Against your defense, you got no defense. What defense you got? Who you got on defense? And they're going to give him this is a great punt, actually. But still, now he's going to return it to the 40, 42-yard line. He's got great field position. Now, he does need a touchdown. Field goal doesn't help. But he's got 2:46, all the timeouts. Aaron Rodgers is about to carve your ass up, and you deserve it. You deserve it because you're stupid, and you're dumb, and you don't know what you're doing. Bunch of dumb, dumb dummies. Rodgers about to carve you up. Because you thought you could play around with Joe frickin' Flacco. And you were wrong. Incorrect, sir. I don't understand these friggin' people, man. Rodgers is taking the smelling salts left and right. He's getting all high on the field. He's about to throw a bomb on your ass. You got no pass rushers. Yeah. You got no pass rush whatsoever. You're going to let him sit back there for 8 or 9 seconds. He's going to get high on smelling salts and throw a bomb. Second down and 10. 11 personnel. He's got his 2 little wide receivers out there, along with 1 tight end, Freiermuth. Looks and finds. There he goes. Roman Wilson. Flag on the play. Holding. Back him up. Since he needs a sack, yeah, that's a problem. They don't have anybody to sack him. Who's going to sack him? These bumps. Murphy? Who's Murphy? I don't know. Who are these people? Yeah, the old arm around the neck is usually going to be a holding. Arm around the neck, Broderick Jones. Second down and 20. But plenty of time remaining. No problem as far as time is concerned. 3 timeouts, 2:31. Just got to play your normal defense, normal offense. It's no problem. Rodgers throws deep, and there you go, as I just said. Because Zach Taylor's a big, dumb dummy. What a big, dumb dummy. Why do I have to know everything? Before it happens? It's like a curse. Told you, Florida Jets fan. How many times do I have to tell you folks what's going to happen before it happens? I told you he's going to get high on smelling salts, throw a bomb, and it's over. Because you decided to be stupid and you wanted to drop back and pass the ball when you should have been running it all the time. So dumb. Fire Zach Taylor right now. Let's see. I gave him a great on this throw. Let's see if I should make it elite. No, not elite because he had to turn back around to the other side, but still great. You got no pass rush. These coaches don't really. One of the things they don't understand is the weaknesses of their own team. Now, they did that so quickly. Flacco and the Bengals could still have time. This game's not over, but still, the philosophy of what they were trying to do on that offensive possession was horrible. They needed to eat clock, and they needed also to gain yardage with the run game because that hasn't been stopped all game. And meanwhile, Watt and Highsmith are sitting there chomping at the bit going, well, we haven't gotten a sack all game. We're going to get one now. And they sure did. This guy's stumbling. He gets it out to the 30 at least. Well, now they got plenty of time to come back, and all they need is a field goal. So certainly not over. But, man, you handed it to Aaron Rodgers. It's also something to keep in mind with these dinks and dunks. When your quarterback dinks and dunks all night, he gets a confidence and a flow and a rhythm going. Then when you need him to throw deep, he's feeling good about it. He's in a rhythm. It's something else I like about these offenses that take these little, they're happy to take 5, 6, 7 yards at a clip, happy to do it, move the ball down the field, and when you need the big play, you're feeling better. You're more confident. You're in a rhythm. You're feeling good. Maybe the defense isn't really worried about uh, the deep ball at that point in time, and so then when you need it, it's there. I tell you, I should coach one of these teams. I mean, jeez, I should be the head coach. Avmo says, "This is great, Frankie. I don't have the game tonight. I'm listening on XM, but love your commentary to go with it. It's the best." All right, thanks, Avmo. Appreciate it. When I do a broadcast, I tell you the honest truth. Everybody else has an agenda. All these people have agendas. Remember that, Havmo. Like if they're a former player, remember they're in the same union as all the current players. So just keep that in mind. If you're a broadcaster, you don't want the teams to really get upset at you, too much, and also the NFL. But I got no such agendas. Nobody giving me money except you guys, if you want to, you know, super chats and whatnot. So, I'm not taking money from any of those people. Tell you that much. I don't got to watch out for the NFL, the NFL Players Association, current players, former players, journalists, broadcasters. I don't answer to any of them. I don't even got any sponsors. You know what I'm saying? I don't even got one sponsor. Ain't nobody sponsoring Frankie. I'm too independent minded. Plus, I don't have enough subscribers, but. But it always is also kind of fun to watch Aaron Rodgers be Aaron Rodgers again. If you just take the Jets part out of it, it's kind of fun to see Aaron Rodgers doing Aaron Rodgers things again. This is what we thought we would see last year. We didn't. But this is what we thought we would see. We didn't. So. But I guess it's fun to see it one last time as he rides off into the sunset. Taking the Jet fan pain out of it because Jet fan pain would come anyway, one way or another. Think there wouldn't be Jet fan pain of one form or another? This is what we are. We're just a pain magnet. We're a magnet for pain. That's what we are. All right, now Flacco is at the minus 45-yard line in the shotgun. He's got 11 personnel. No, he's got 12 personnel, actually. And he looks and finds Chase coming across the field for an 11, 12, 15, 17-yard gain, spins out of bounds. So now the Bengals are in pretty good shape. Chase is having an all-time game, by the way. He must have at least 15 catches. Jamar Chase has 15 catches for 100, now has 16 catches for 161 yards. As Flacco has gone over 300 for the game. Now 1st and 10 at the plus 43-yard line. T. Higgins in motion. Now he's got 11 personnel. Hands it off to Chase Brown. Squirrels forward for 3 yards. Karate says, F the refs, coffee should be a sponsor. Yeah. Well, even if they don't become a sponsor, I'm going to get me a bag and hold it up a lot at the camera during these type of games. I don't care. That's a Brendan Pern is he's an independent. Well, I don't know what his situation is. He's a big time YouTuber. He's like 1 million subscribers or something, and that's his coffee. I don't know if he does affiliates or what. But no matter what, at some point I'm going to buy a bag and just going to hold it up on camera. Karate. Every time they make a mistake, fuck the refs, coffee. Fuck the refs, coffee. Joe Cool now 147, 2nd down and 8. Steelers, I think, took a timeout. So Joe Cool now back to pass, 2nd down and 8. Throws it down the left sideline, and he's got T. Higgins who slides at the 5. I'm going to say that's a great throw. Put a lot of air under that one. Attaboy, Flacky. And Higgins didn't go in for the touchdown right away. He beat Jalen Ramsey, which is always fun. Because fuck Jalen Ramsey. And put a lot of air under that one. Higgins able to grab it. Now they're at the 5-yard line. It was good that he went down because now the Steelers took their 2nd timeout. So do another run. Don't run it in. Make them take their 3rd timeout. I mean, if you score a touchdown, you can go up by 6, 37-31. So you can't put it away unless you really want to risk going for two, which they probably don't want to do. So you want to do a running play here and not run it in, which is what they do. They do a quarterback sneak. Then they take their timeout. Now they have no timeouts. Now you do that again. Yeah, and you just keep running it down and let McPherson kick it, I guess. But I don't think karate. I don't think Brandon Perna does sponsorships. He's. I think he's independent, although I don't know. When you get up to 1 million subscribers on YouTube, uh, I don't know. I don't know if you're independent anymore. There may be companies involved. I don't know. So second down and goal now, 137. They're just going to do a kneel down. Flacco takes some time and kneels down. Now they're going to let the clock run. And it'll be down to about a minute. Then they'll do it again. So Pittsburgh should get the ball back with maybe 20 seconds remaining, something like that. They're going to call timeout. 53 seconds. One thing you got to be concerned about as a Steeler fan is really your defense. You know, now overall they're looking at the stand. This if they lose, it's not going to really Hayward's offsides, I think, but um, I guess it'll be maybe 10 or 11 seconds. But nonetheless, this is not a great defensive performance by the Steelers. So if I were a Steeler fan, it's not going to really hurt you in the standings too much. And you could say, well, Rodgers really, played really well, so that's encouraging. And but boy, the defense. Yeah, so there'll be 11 seconds, and then yeah. So they played this right. If that were the Jets, T. Higgins would have run in for a touchdown and left all this time on the clock. But since it's not, somebody did something smart and bled down the clock. Flacco on the on the game, 31 for 47, 342 yards, 3 touchdowns. Boy, how did Browns fans going to feel about it? I mean, Browns fans, if they could have got performances like this out of Flacco, you know, they would really have. I mean, they could have had a competitive season, at least as a bridge to whatever they're going to do next year, which is who knows. Up and good. All right, so 7 seconds remaining. Bengals go up 33-31. They did as good as you could possibly do in terms of bleeding the clock. No timeouts. 7 seconds. Zach Taylor survives his dumb, stupid stuff that he did earlier. And Flacco saves his butt, really. Think about it. And really, the Bengals, this puts their season back on track to be something. They're not going to kind of like disappear into the night. They could be playing for something, trying to get Burrow back in December or so. And now they'll do a kickoff. We'll see what they want to do. They try to kick it out of the end zone. Yeah, I'm not sure if that was the right move. I mean, I guess they don't want to return, but now you're going to let Rodgers come out here and try and do something. Though they're at the 35-yard line. You can't really throw a Hail Mary here, but what you could do is throw a quick out and then throw a Hail Mary. I think I would have preferred they return there. Watch him he could throw a 10-yard out, and then with 1 second left in the clock, he could throw a Hail Mary. That's what he could do. So not over yet. 7 ticks remaining. Rodgers in the shotgun, throws a quick out, which he does. As I said. And now with 3 seconds, here comes the Hail Mary. The greatest Hail Mary thrower in the history of the NFL, Aaron Rodgers, will throw a Hail Mary with 3 seconds remaining. He'll have to do so from the 40-yard line. Or so. Rolls to his left. Looks now here. He throws it as far as he can. He does get it to the end zone, which is interesting. Look at that arm still. 41 years old. I mean, count that as a throwaway on the thing. But they knock it down. He could throw it from the 35-yard line to the end zone. Amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. All right, so another game in the books. Karate says, great job as usual, FSPN. Thank you, Karate. Thank you, Havmo. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. Another quarterback grading game in the books. If you haven't already, please give the video a thumbs up. And if you're new around here, subscribe and tell folks about the channel. They might want to subscribe. And consider joining the Inner Circle, which is the channel membership that you can join with the button below any video on this channel. And you can get exclusive items, free resources, this, that, and the other thing. Click the join button. And we got prices for every budget. Thanks for being here, everybody, and I'll see you next time.